Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, we are getting a Game 7 in the NBA playoffs, Perloff, but that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about JJ Redick and what a huge mistake he made yesterday in the Lakers post-mortem press conference. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff.
Why, did he make all his players stay, all the 5 starters come up to the podium and everybody else got to go home because he plays the starters too much? What was his mistake?
The mistake was made in
the series.
No, yes, I'll give you that. The mistake was made in the series, and then there was a second mistake that happened yesterday. And I want to play it for you because we're talking about what is going to be the future of Luka Doncic, LeBron James. How are the Lakers going to turn themselves into a championship contender? Because there's no other option here, right? It's not, this was fun pairing while it lasted, right? This isn't a college team with 2 high school guys who want to come together and give it another run. You're here to win titles, okay? So this is now incumbent on all of them, Rob Pelinka, the front office, but certainly JJ Redick, to try to get everybody's attention and get everybody going in the right direction. And also to prove that he's not an immature, as Brian Windhorst called him yesterday, and coaching immature and sort of acting immature, quite frankly, and calling out his players in the first postseason press conference when this thing wasn't even 48 hours old.
Yeah,
so,
I love it.
Oh, okay. Well, let's hear JJ Redick, because Redick yesterday was talking about how some people need to get in better shape. I wonder who he's talking about.
We have a ways to go as a roster. And certainly there are individuals that were in phenomenal shape. There's certainly other ones that could have been in better shape. That's where my mind goes immediately is we have to get in championship shape.
Fair, right? And that may be true. And normally something like that could be sort of coach speak or something you say after you lose a series, Perloff. But we all know what the situation is. We know that Luka Doncic just got traded controversially from Dallas to LA. And one of the big reasons was whether or not he could keep himself in shape.
Right.
To take a shot. That's what this is. It's a shot at Luka Doncic when you've been coaching him for only a couple months. You don't even really know this guy as well as you would hope to in the future. To take a shot at him publicly and essentially lay some blame at his feet for why you exited in the first round is a dumb coaching decision. It's one that could potentially backfire on him hugely, and the risk was not near worth it at this juncture. Not right now, not when you're about to start the offseason. That's something that has to happen behind closed doors, not for the public red meat like you and me to dissect this and for fans to, all of a sudden start monitoring, every pound that Luka gains or loses.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. I'm a Sixers fan. I've watched the organization sit there and watch Joel Embiid eat himself into injury after injury and not say anything. What is wrong with this? This is Nico Harrison and Dallas said the same thing. We know. What do you mean we don't know Luka? Luka's been around for 8 years. He knows who Luka is. Luka is going to spend the offseason in a hookah bar drinking beer.
You make it sound like the guy's a vagabond degenerate. I mean, he's one of the best players in the NBA. That's disrespectful.
I'm half joking because of the hookah the hookah and beer report. But what I don't understand. Like, what's the downside here? You mean he's supposed to sort of placate Luka? Why would he placate Luka? Luka's a highly paid NBA superstar. I basically like calling him out. Like, it's time that Luka has some tough love because the Sixers did not give any tough love to Joel Embiid and completely ruin the franchise.
Okay, well, not to make this about Embiid.
You have to get on. Well, it's the same exact situation. You have to get on this guy. You better be like your teammate LeBron James and put everything you have into offseason fitness. Otherwise, you're not winning anything here.
Okay. First of all, Embiid was hurt the moment he got into the league.
No, but he could not get in perfect shape.
But injuries followed him his whole career. But this
same exact thing as Luka.
I don't see them the same, but let's put that to the side because that's not the conversation today. I think that JJ Redick, he knows he doesn't still work for ESPN, right? He knows he doesn't do things for clicks anymore. Right. This is the Los Angeles Lakers, where you are going to get maximum attention for every little thing that you say. You don't need to court controversy which is exactly what he did, because JJ Redick is smart enough and now has worked in the media and knows how this sausage is made, that when you put something out there like that, you are expecting a response. And the avalanche is going to come back onto Luka.
What? Yes, I hope so.
Okay, but Pearl, have you ever heard of doing things behind closed doors? Does every single thought that goes through a head coach's head come out in a media press conference? That's not good. That's not what you want. And by the way, why are we doing code reds right now? You're just about to start the offseason. Why don't you meet with your players, understand and give them what the expectation is, the expected behavior for the offseason, set the tone behind the scenes before you let the media come in, and we will start to set the agenda for you. And the fans will start to set the agenda for you. JJ Redick lost control in this series because he got out coached. Now he's going to lose control of the media narrative. And I feel like he's got to know this. Like, you just fanned the flames. You poured kerosene on this.
The media narrative is 100% irrelevant to any of this. It is their roster. As Rob Pelinka said, we're going to improve this roster. The second thing is they have to get Luka to get in shape. I mean, otherwise, JJ, it's not going to work anyway. There's nothing to lose here. They play. Did you honestly see the base of a championship team in this year's playoffs? Did you see? Oh, this is not at all. Right. Like Luka's got to change his game, and I think he will. He's 28. I don't mind putting public pressure on him because I've seen a lot of situations where coaches don't put public pressure on a player, and he just does not develop. It doesn't. It does. That is the least of their problems. They have much, much bigger problems than JJ Redick being combustible. You're right. In an ideal world, maybe he does it behind the scenes, but that's not working either. If he does not get on this guy, where is this team going to go?
But don't you risk alienating him too?
Who cares? Yeah, alienate him.
What do you mean who cares? He'll be fired. They're going to pick Luka over JJ Redick 100 times out of 100.
That's fine for JJ Redick, because if they don't get on Luka and Luka doesn't improve his game, he's going to get fired anyway because he's not going to win. I'd rather take my shot, say, hey, listen, dude, you got to get serious here. And he's not the only NBA star this has ever happened to. There's a long history of guys. He's saying you got to get in better shape. I really. Yes, ideally you do it behind the scenes, but I don't mind the public pressure because he's got to step up his game. He definitely does.
Okay.
And also, I think Luka will take this as a challenge, and I think it'll work.
Or the exact opposite happens, and he tells the guy, well, I could have been in the best shape of any player in the history of the NBA. No one's ever played all five guys. Well, they have, but very rare. You play all five guys the second half. No one who's even in the best shape in the world could have been at their absolute best at the end of the fourth quarter. So if I'm Luka, I could turn this back around on JJ Redick and say, you're telling me to lose weight. You're telling me to get in shape. Why don't you get a freaking clue on how to do rotations or anything to try to save, even if it's not me, save 40-year-old LeBron James. You can't give him a little bit of a breather. He's got to, manage this on the fly. Like, this is a problem when you throw stones in glass houses. Nobody's perfect. And so when coaches, and JJ Redick has absolutely zero credibility in the coaching world. As a player, hell yeah, college, pro, JJ had a phenomenal career. He had a longer career than anyone thought. He was awesome at the media. But he hasn't won anything as a coach. He hasn't done anything as a coach. In fact, you got to the playoffs and you got rocked. So how are you, if you're not being perfect at your job, how are you telling me to be perfect at mine? I'm not saying he doesn't, he can't, call out players. But again, that's got to happen behind the scenes, in my opinion, because you are now putting yourself out there that if Luka rebukes you, you're gone.
First of all, Luka loves JJ. That's on record.
Well, things change.
His job is not to placate Luka Doncic and keep his job. His job is to win NBA titles. That's all that matters here. And I really don't mind. Somebody's got to light a fire under Luka Doncic. And okay. I think JJ Redick has actually a pretty good chance here.
See, I think you're being too black and white about this. Yeah, the object is to win titles, no doubt about that.
You're a Laker. That's the only thing that matters.
Right. And who have the Lakers had the most success under in their more recent history would obviously be Phil Jackson. And Phil Jackson as a head coach, what was his greatest strength? He
caused tons of controversy in the locker room and had everybody at each other's throats, so they were playing their best.
Well, or managing egos.
Oh,
Could be a nicer way to say that.
No, but he was always challenging guys, though.
challenge them when he knew that it was going to push the right button.
Right.
JJ's been here for 5 minutes. He doesn't know that yet. This is a new player. And also, managing egos is where I was going with the Phil Jackson thing, not handing out books and like the art of motorcycle maintenance and all of whatever he was doing, Buddhism stuff. But I think that managing egos, you're saying it's all about wins and losses. Being an NBA coach is all about managing superstars as well and trying to get them to where they need to be. And I just think for JJ to throw this out, we know that guys have to get in championship shape. When that's not coach speak for this team. That's a shot at Luka Doncic.
I actually just watched the Kobe Shaq documentary of all things, and they were talking about how Phil intentionally turned them against each other, and he also said he intentionally went public with criticism of both of them and lit a fire.
But how many titles had they won before he started doing that? Like he had some in the bag.
He said he immediately turned. He loved the tension between Kobe and Shaq. And you could see it. Those guys from day one were they were on a wire. They were so intense.
Okay.
And I think part of it was Phil. And Phil called guys out in public. I don't think it's that obvious. But the point, and also Shaq eventually left. He didn't manage that ego the right way.
Okay, well, he also coached the Bulls. He also came back and was able to coach the Lakers to a title. I'm just saying there is more to this than, yes, you want to win, but how are you going to do it? I can take you to Coach K. Coach K, JJ Redick's mentor, one of the best at this. Figuring out, how can I light a fire under a guy without burning the whole house down? You don't know what you just did with Luka. You don't know how he's going to interpret that. You think that he's going to maybe take it as, championship shape. I've got to now get my butt in the gym and do all that. Well, you know what? He might say the opposite. And it might might create some tension that might not be good for the rest of the team and for Redick himself.
I think it's worth the risk. If that's the way Luka would react to that quote, then he's not a championship player anyway.
You're still going to have to coach him because he's about to sign a massive extension.
If you don't win a championship, you're not. Either way, you have to light a fire under this guy. It's worth the risk because what happened this year, going out in the first round, JJ's not going to last anywhere. We actually had a conversation last night. Is he already on the hot seat there? He's got to win. There's nothing else that matters. And I think, and my sense, by the way, is that Luka likes him. I don't know. I get a strong sense Luka's into this. He seems bought in. I do think Luka is out. He already looks thinner. I think he's going to take this challenge and step up and get in better shape. I think that he's going to be a better player under JJ Redick. He is a guy that people have been trying to get to on the fitness stuff for a while and the defense stuff too. Here's the other thing. Luka did not play any defense in the playoffs. How do you light that fire? I think JJ looked at the tape and be like, wow, this guy did not try on defense in this series. So if I don't do something, he's just going to keep on doing this. Why would he change his behavior otherwise?
Well, you notice he didn't call that out in the press conference, right?
I think it's implied. When he says out of shape, I think that means, you weren't playing both ways.
Okay. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I think this was a huge miscalculation by JJ. And it was intentional by him, by the way, because he knows this game, if you will. He knows that what you say in the media and anything that would be even halfway construed about Luka's weight is going to get massive maximum attention. Is he doing the right thing? Laker fans, do you love this, hate this? 888-710-4476.
And by the way, it's conditioning, not just weight, right?
Sure, conditioning.
Yeah, which is interesting. I watch Luka play. He always just stands out by the three-point line. Watch Steph Curry. Steph Curry stands out there, throws the ball, then runs around 100 miles. I feel like Luka could be a much more active player. I don't know. I'm not weight shaming him. I just feel like I see LeBron spend $1 million on his body. Somebody's got to get to Luka. I think Luka has the ability to be the best player in the league, but it's not there.
Well, what does $1 million worth of hookah look like? That's a lot of hookah.
By the way, that $1 million quote was about 3 or 4 years ago, so it's probably $2 million now with inflation. I think
tariffs.
Yeah, I think
all the
Luka.
Stuff what's coming in?
And also, LeBron's getting older. I'll bet you that number's up to $5 million a year. And I would like to see this offseason. He's out in L.A. You know how fresh the food is out there. He could lose some weight. He gets into the Hollywood lifestyle.
Yeah, avocados.
He could be hanging out with Bradley Cooper and Brad Pitt and everybody's a great shape.
He's got a cheesesteak restaurant. Don't hang with him.
Well, all these in-shape actors, I think Luka is going to get Hollywood up and he's going to come back and he's going to look svelte. I guarantee he looks really good in the beginning of next year, and that's a storyline.
Couple kale salads, maybe? Are we still doing that?
I don't know what they do out in LA. There's green juices and things. You know it. You've been to L.A. You just get into the culture where all of a sudden you're not eating and you're drinking juice.
I know. It's very different from New York. It's like where in New York, it's totally not weird to see people just in bars at like 8 a.m. It's a different kind of lifestyle. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Yes, it's not healthy here. It's healthy there. What do you think? Did JJ Redick make a good move calling out Luka publicly, his weight? I mean, he said we have to get in championship shape. We know what he's talking about. Or was this the wrong move? Right move, wrong move? 888-710-4ISN.
Okay. You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. You know, sometimes the media acts like a bunch of guys sitting around a fantasy football draft. I was listening on ESPN last night. They're like, well, Giannis is probably going to be on the move this summer in Milwaukee. We'll see. I mean, can New York and L.A. put together a package to get him? As if there aren't 26 other NBA teams. And they're like, basically, not even getting into any contract. There were 2 analysts that didn't get into any contract. So, we were talking about JJ Redick calling out Luka Doncic likely for not being in shape. Everyone's like, well, just add Giannis to that crew and they'll be fine. Maybe give him Giannis and Jared Allen.
Yeah.
Remember when in Seinfeld when George Costanza tried to add Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr. to the Yankees outfield? It's like, you know what would solve
and we don't
this
have to give up that much.
Yeah, if you have Giannis, Jared Allen, the all-star center, I don't know, maybe give them an all-star point guard. They'll be fine, Maggie. I don't know why we're stressing about JJ Redick.
Snitches get stitches.
Honestly, which we found out is also a term in Greece.
But because you had a funny line yesterday. I'm like, where is the superstar going to come to LA from? And you said, well, we'll find out in a year or two because they always get this superstar. They might be able to fix all this problems through roster.
Okay, but you guys brought up something interesting. This was off the air, but I'm going to bring it on the air because you're calling out other people for playing fantasy basketball or sounding like a fantasy football draft. I was privy to a conversation yesterday about the Lakers possibly trading LeBron James that you guys all participated in.
Yes, let's go there.
Well, but here's the thing. That sounds like just as crazy because I think LeBron is a no trade, I would imagine. But there's another question about this, right? About how the Lakers have to fix what's going on. We are talking about JJ Redick calling out Luka Doncic basically for not being in quote-unquote championship shape. So whether that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? And you can call us at 888-710-4ISM because I have to imagine Laker fans, mixed bag here on JJ. Like, nice job in the regular season, but you got on Darvin Ham for all the rotation stuff and wanted to run him out of town. Frank Vogel, who had actually won a title, you got all over him. But here comes JJ, who did no rotations in the second half of a playoff game, and then everyone looks wiped out in an elimination game. I can't imagine that's sitting well with the fan base. And he's acting like normal JJ Redick, which can come across as being very
bombastic,
smug.
Well,
condescending.
Noted Laker fan Ray Jarvis is here today, and he said, and I quote, "If I ever see JJ Redick out in Brooklyn, I'm putting my hands on him." So it doesn't sound like Ray is very happy with JJ.
But I think JJ had to do something radical because all those other coaches just fizzled out, and I think JJ, if he didn't rock the boat, would fizzle out. I think that's why they took JJ Redick.
Rock the boat. He's been there for 5 minutes.
You need radical solutions to figure this out. I mean, he's going to be there for 5 more minutes if he just lets it play. They just lost in 5 games to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like you need to try something.
I love radical solutions, like he's doing some kind of rocket launch here. I mean, it's like, how are we going to get him home? We only have a stick of gum and a roll of duct tape.
You need a radical solution to win an NBA title with a 41-year-old superstar.
Okay, well,
that never happens. Like, you need something unusual here to build this roster. This is a Cavs-Lakers trade proposal. Ready? Mm-hmm. I love doing trade proposals. I could do the whole show on fake trade proposals. Ooh. Cleveland Cavaliers received LeBron James and Rui Hachimura. We'll give him Bronny, too. Los Angeles Lakers received Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, Max Strus, Isaac Okoro, 2030 first-round pick swap, 2031 first-round pick.
No way the Lakers taking that.
Come on.
I got to get Evan Mobley if I'm trading for LeBron.
Yeah, see, okay.
Lakers.
And that's where the trade proposals are going to end today, okay? Because we're a radio show. We're not the trade machine. And here's the other part of it. This is what the actual bigger picture is.
Can we get a trade machine in here, by the way? Because I would kill or die to have that ability.
Replace the monitor behind you guys and just make it a trade machine. Perloff looks like Bobby Marks.
My whole life I've wanted to get on that darn trade machine. All right.
Well, maybe we have that will be a social media extra. but not on the show because that's boring.
Yeah, because we really have the graphics department to build a trade machine behind us, Maggie.
Well, Kaplan is as good as any graphics department I know. But here's the deal. The deal is, how much influence does LeBron James have now with the Los Angeles Lakers? That's essentially what you're asking. Because I've lived in a world for the last 20 years where LeBron has tons of influence.
Right.
And I just watched his son get drafted in the second round, so I know it's still there. However, the Luka trade is giving me a little bit of pause because we've never gotten the full answer about whether or not LeBron knew that was coming or not. I think he did. His agent is Rich Paul. That's also AD's agent. Did they even have to give Rich Paul the heads up that they were making this trade? But you hear the Lakers, this kind of feels like it went down between Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison with Jeannie Buss kind of brought in at the 11th hour, who owns the team, for goodness sakes. Yeah. So did LeBron actually know? Then LeBron gives this weird quote after the game, after they lost, and he's like, well, I don't want to make any comments about roster building because when AD did that, he got traded a week later, which could be classic LeBron James, like passive-aggressive, like this is the dude that we've known for a long time. But he's always had influence, Pearl. Do you still think he has influence in how the Lakers roster gets built?
Well, if LeBron really, I know exactly what LeBron is thinking right now. We're both middle-aged sports dads who he happens to be an NBA player. I'm sure he wants to get out of there and go to a contender. LeBron. You don't think LeBron is eyeing Cleveland right now? And like he knows he's not going to win with this Lakers roster, I think. And I think normal LeBron would get out of there and go to another super team to try and get one more ring. I think that's his original instinct because LeBron's a wanderer. He always has been. It's weird how long he stayed in LA. So I think he does not. I don't think he really sees it in LA. He did not look super hopeful about the Lakers. But that being said, I don't know. He's probably pressuring the team. He's going to say, essentially, I have one more year. Give all those draft. You were able to save those draft picks in the Luka trade, which was a miracle because the Mavericks undersold Luka.
Yep.
So he's going to say, give up all those draft picks and bring in a star. But even LeBron knows. I just think this team might not even be a star away. I think he would rather, knowing LeBron, I think he does want to go back to Cleveland. I think he wants to get out of the West, which I would do. I don't see the path. I think it's going to be really, really hard to add one piece and get a title because LeBron's going to be 41. We keep ignoring that fact. You're talking about influence. Yeah, they probably didn't tell him because they're probably not building around him in the future. I don't think they see him the way they did 5 years ago. I don't think you have to tell LeBron James. I don't think he's the GM anymore. I think they've moved on.
Listen, you say that, and then there's a world where we get a headline that comes across our timelines in a couple of weeks. LeBron James signs 3-year extension with LA Lakers for $137 million.
Right.
That also could exist.
If that happens, by the way, and this is a genuine question, does that mean the expectation is he plays all 3 of those years?
Yeah, this isn't the NFL. It's not dummy years on top of the contracts. They're fully guaranteed. So, yeah, I think the expectation would be that he would play those years.
But couldn't he retire and leave $30 million on it? Yeah, because it's not that much money either. It's 3 years, 150 or 130?
Something like that.
For him.
More than that for LeBron.
I thought it was 137, but
yeah,
I don't know.
It's a very specific number.
Well, he gets a raise from wherever he just got. So
so that's an extension on top of?
Yeah, he would get like a 10% or 15% raise, whatever it would be, unless he took less.
Isn't there an NBA rule that you can't pay certain guys over a certain age?
What?
Hockey has that.
No, I think the NBA, I thought, has a certain...
They might in the last
CBA. Anyway, we're getting in the weeds on this. The biggest thing is, how much influence does LeBron James have over the Lakers roster right now?
Well, it's a similar conversation. Even if he signs a 3-year deal, he's not staying for 3 years, Maggie. This is like, how much influence can you really keep building around this guy for the Lakers? Of course, they probably didn't call him. Now it's Luka's team. Now they got to figure this out around Luka. It is not about placating LeBron James anymore.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So we got 2 questions out there. Did JJ Redick make a mistake by publicly calling out Luka Doncic, not by name, but saying we need to get in championship shape? And obviously, I don't think he was talking about Jared Vanderbilt. And also, how much influence does LeBron have over the Lakers roster now? Because, yeah, they need a makeover for sure. Andrew Bogusch is here. I could have done a really mean transition there, but I decided not to. Because you don't need a makeover. That's what's
I do, but thank you. Your headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com.
What did Jalen Brunson score yesterday?
Speaking of Jalen Brunson, the way folks around here speak about the Knicks, you would have thought this would have been easier.
Brunson puts up a three. Bang! Bang! Jalen Brunson hits the three with 4.3 remaining. And the Pistons call timeout.
A double bang from Mike Breen for Jalen Brunson's tie-breaking three with 4 seconds left in Game 6 in Detroit. His Knicks had been up 12 earlier in the fourth, then down 7 with 2.5 minutes to go. Game 7, a very real possibility until Brunson came to the rescue. Then Malik Beasley also came to the rescue, fumbling away the Pistons' last chance.
How?
Their
How do
season.
these guys, the look was as open as could possibly be, and I'm not rooting for that. I like when our guys are happy, and Jalen Brunson was awesome. First of all, you got 2 things went really, really right for the Knicks in the last 30 seconds of that game. One is somehow Asar Thompson, who had just played lockdown defense on Jalen Brunson for 40 seconds on the possession before, even longer than the possession. All of a sudden, Brunson goes to a pretty sick crossover move, but not like God Sham God out there. I mean, it was good, but for a defender like him to lose his center of gravity like that, and he slid all the way into the front row, it felt like, and Jalen Brunson hit the three. Then Malik Beasley, you're as wide open as an NBA player will ever get, and he just let the ball go out.
I can explain that.
Tell me.
As a shooter?
As a finger doctor, as an analyst?
Person who's prone to panicking on the basketball court, that was panicking. Not everybody's cut out to even take a last second 3-pointer, let alone. And trust me, I'm watching the Knicks Pistons. I'm like, you are in a series with Malik Beasley and Dennis Schroeder, and it's not the play-in. What is going on here? This is one of the worst playoff backcourts I've ever seen in my entire life. But the Knicks made them look good. Yeah, he panicked.
No, but Beasley's been one of the
Knicks.
He's been one of the best 3-point shooters all
because
season long.
You look at the playoff NBA history, it's always Malik Beasley taking the big three. He panicked. Did you see? It's like, whoa. I thought Ant-Man. I thought Cunningham was going to take that shot.
He's like, whoa.
I played on many.
They drew it up for him, and the huddle was beautiful. JD Bickerstaff, that was masterful what they did on that last play.
Started to rise as if he was going to shoot the ball, and I think Beasley was like, oh, thank God he's taking the shot. But the guy closed in on him. I mean, looking back on it, Cunningham should have fired that one up because
go New York, go New York, go.
You get that, don't you guys? Have you ever taken a last-second shot in a game? It sounds terrifying.
It does. I thought he was too open and not expecting the pass. He's like, oh, all right.
I think he thought Cunningham was going to shoot.
Yeah, he just didn't think he was going to get the ball.
This is what happens, as Drake said, when bench players talk like starters. This is what happens. We're mentally tough. We're the new bad boys. You can't even catch the basketball.
He called himself the best 3-point shooter in the world after this game.
After they lost.
After he did that.
After he dropped the ball.
After he didn't take a three.
Maybe he's not aware of Steph Curry. It's possible.
I mean, there's a long list between Steph Curry and
I'm just saying. Man,
I wish,
that
by
was
the way,
tough.
you know what the Knicks need to do? Jalen Brunson's got to take a couple more shots. He's got to get some up there. Even James Harden.
He's got to be more selfish. You're right.
James Harden actually said in a note saying, dude, you're taking a lot of shots. I mean, what is going on there?
Well, he had to win them the game last
They say
night.
he had to. When is a 6'2" guy shooting 46 times in one game ever won you anything? Pass the ball, dude.
Dude, they just had to get out of that situation, and he got him out of it.
I don't know. He kept them in the fourth quarter because didn't he go cold for a little bit too?
They all did. They scored 2 points in 6 minutes.
Yeah, they all went cold because only one guy was dribbling and shooting the whole time, and they were taken out of the game by their own player.
Well, I'm not sitting here for Jalen Brunson slander. This in America knows what's happening.
Ball hog.
This is
clutch.
BS.
Ball hog.
The guy's Mr. Clutch, Captain Clutch, Clutch Player of the Year.
33 shots, dude.
Yeah. Again, what's his percentage?
It was 40.
Yeah. No, it was 50.
15 for 33.
Right. So, yeah, 45%. Split the difference. He was a masterclass.
Yeah, this is not the day to kill Brunson.
No.
To be honest, I don't know what's going to happen against the Celtics. Well, I know what's going to happen against the Celtics.
I know what's happening.
But to hear the Knicks always play the Celtics really tough, but I don't know. I don't know about
Not this year.
No,
This is gonna be because here's the thing: the Celtics are not gonna fumble that ball out of bounds.
No, Jason Tatum's taking that shot. Not
Yeah.
Peyton Pritchard.
There's no Malik Beasleys and Dennis Schroeders in this series.
Can it get to is this going to be a close enough series that we're going to get these kind of big moments?
I feel like
See what the referees have to
I feel
say.
like there will be.
I mean, listen, the Celtics shoot so many threes. There's going to be a game where they go cold, probably.
Listen, if Tibbs is not comatose, he'll make some adjustments and make it a series. And it's a big if, I know.
The Clippers did what the Pistons could not, winning Game 6 at home, 111-105 over the Nuggets, forcing a Game 7 in Denver tomorrow. James Harden, 28 points and 8 assists.
It's win or go home. So a lot of opportunities to be aggressive, and I took them. We did a good job game planning, see where we needed to make corrections on, and did it. So one more game.
That was Harden post-game on TNT. Kawhi Leonard adding 27 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists, while the LAD held Nikola Jokic to just 5 second-half points.
Is there a plan in place in Denver? Do they have engineers in to secure the backboards and the rims for Russell Westbrook and James Harden in Game 7, throwing up bricks? Because it is going to be ugly. Harden, Game 7, let's go. You guys
Kawhi
ready to
load
see
management.
failure on national TV?
This is about Kawhi and Jokic. We're not worried about those guys.
Well, Harden, Game 7, Harden will still take 35 shots no matter what. If he hits one of them, he doesn't care.
Listen, to be honest, Game 6 Harden was no picnic, but he came through last night.
Yeah, well, 7
Historically.
6 is. I think he's okay in 6. I think it's 7 where he always really, really struggles. I think Denver had that game plan. Like, let's get that guy to a Game 7.
I think it was 3 for 14 in his career going into yesterday in Game 6. 3 and 14.
I thought he
James
had a good game with the Sixers again. But anyway, Game 7, he's super
No,
famous.
remember you guys were at
2
home.
for 19.
You guys were at home, and he basically didn't score for 3 quarters. Something ridiculous against the Celtics a couple years ago.
You forgot about those backboards with Ben Simmons also on the court.
No,
he
Ben
didn't shoot the
Simmons.
ball.
No, you don't need to do anything with backboards. He doesn't hit the rim or the backboard. Oh, just goes in the air. I mean,
It is weird. But anyway, we don't have time for Ben Simmons talk.
Yeah.
Bigger
I mean, I
things
feel
to
like
do.
we're talking about all my least favorite players right now.
I keep
trying to tell you. You talk about Jokic and Kawhi. You keep talking about Harden.
You guys,
Harden was good last night.
I know.
Yeah.
Talking about all that, I forgot Ben Simmons was still in the league.
You didn't see how he
They
the one
played
shot
last
he
night.
took in the last game and completely missed
Yeah,
everything.
then they pulled him out of the rotation. It was really interesting.
Breaking news. Ben Simmons pulled out of a rotation of an NBA roster. Oh. Stop the presses, y'all.
Far from the postseason, the Suns are promoting Brian Gregory to GM while shifting James Jones to a senior advisor. Gregory has been in the Phoenix front office the last 2 years after a 19-year college coaching career. Now he gets to hire a new head coach and maybe trade Kevin Durant.
Wait, can we talk about how unhinged this is real quick? This guy is a failed college basketball coach at South Florida and Georgia Tech. He's going to be running an NBA team.
Yep.
Wait, hold on.
This is crazy.
Hold on 1 second. Can I connect some dots here?
Yeah.
When Isaiah Thomas was a college coach, where did he go?
He Florida Atlantic, right?
Yes.
Oh, was that Florida Atlantic, not South Florida?
International.
Oh,
Florida,
yeah.
the one that's
International
right in the heart of Miami. We drive by it all the time.
Okay.
FIU.
Sorry
But
about
this
that.
guy was an assistant with Izzo. That's the connection.
Oh,
But, I mean-
the Michigan State. This is the owner.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
The owner was
But
a
this was
walk-on
like
at Michigan State.
1999. This is not recent.
No, I know, but that's the connection.
I know, but it's insane. He just failed at USF.
Is it more
EJ
insane than hiring a guy off the ESPN booth? Or I mean, yeah.
He might be the worst owner. I mean, not worst in terms of despicable, but worst in terms of
Decision making.
Yeah, how you run a team.
I just don't know how could this guy be qualified for this. I'm being real. He was not a good college basketball coach. And then now he's been in the NBA for 2 seconds, and now he's a president of a team. This is crazy.
New owner-itis.
I mean, it kind of
Digging
worked.
the hole deeper.
He worked a little. Brad Stevens went from college to
But he
GM
was a
eventually.
great college basketball coach and then a very good NBA head coach. And who then was a GM for his own team, the team he built.
The Lakers just hired JJ Redick. And
Again, great
And
player.
they just got ousted in the first
And that didn't work out
round.
that great.
And Linda Rambis is running the show. I mean, who knows who's running it? I think teams are, I
Yes, and
understand.
they're not playing right now.
Yeah. I understand this idea that everyone thinks the Suns owner is the worst owner in the NBA possibly. But I think we're underselling how many bad owners there are.
Oh, there's tons.
And there's a lot of weird hires. Like, is this guy going to be worse than whoever was running the show before, EJ?
I just think if I'm a Suns fan, I would be what are we doing?
Like, you want a guy with a track record that's done
like a guy who's been in the NBA.
They just hired Budenholzer, who actually won a title, and they hired Frank Vogel before him, who had won a title, and they got rid of those guys immediately. It doesn't matter. If you're a Suns fan, by the way, the only thing you should, I think, really be worried about is what does Devin Booker think of this? I mean, he's the only thing you have left to have any hope around, right?
Definitely. Yeah, they've been trying to trade him, haven't they?
He doesn't want to go, allegedly, but maybe this might push him over the edge. I think Isaiah Thomas's influence is still in this thing big time. I couldn't make the connection there with the South Florida thing, but that guy is a franchise destroyer. When he's a player, he's a franchise elevator. Any other role, he's a destroyer.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that headline. I was like, there's no way they're talking about the same guy that I think they're talking about, right?
But by the way,
I thought it was a different guy.
I'm looking at the other GMs. Like Nico Harrison was a shoe executive.
Yeah.
Rob Pelinka was an agent. There are some unusual GMs.
I just don't know the failed college basketball coach's pipeline to GM.
Landry Fields just got a GM job.
He got fired.
He got fired.
But he was in the front office in Atlanta for a little while.
He was in the front office. Yeah. But did Steve Kerr go straight from the booth to the? I don't know.
That didn't work out either.
Yeah, he didn't.
I just think the Suns. I hear what you're saying that he could be the worst owner. I just think he's going to have a lot of challenges moving forward because there are other bad owners.
Challengers to the title.
The NBA
worst
owners
owner.
are a bunch of weirdos. I'm starting to realize.
The NFL owners, MLB owners. Do we just do sports owners?
They're all strange.
Yeah.
But I think the NFL owners get a higher profile. We know how weird they are. We talk about Jerry Jones every day. I think we're learning about these NBA guys.
It's a different type. It seems, at least, a little bit like a different type of guy. And I don't want to, they're all rich. They, all that. But, hedge fund guys versus old money guys versus tech money guys.
A lot of tech money guys, or Josh Harris types, who are more to new age or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I think when you don't have the guaranteed revenue of the NFL money, it makes you kind of be crazy.
But look at Dallas. Now you got casino magnate money. Right. The guy's the in-law.
Yeah, I mean, NFL owners don't have to chase stuff like that because they just print money.
Right.
They print hundreds of millions of dollars. I think baseball, NBA, it's a lot different. So I think these guys end up doing more weird things with their front offices, with their player personnel, because they're chasing profits. It's not a given. It's not a guarantee the way it used to be.
But they got all that $1 billion TV deal.
TV deals help, but ticket sales and all in local broadcast rights are basically in the toilet. There's other issues those teams deal with.
Yeah. 888-710-4ISN. Well, good luck to you, Suns. 888-710-4476. Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up, we could see a big breakup happening to one of the most productive duos in sports. Get to that next.
Bang!
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, JJ Perloff here on Infinity Sports Network. If you're looking for us on satellite radio, we moved channels. 375 is the new place to find us, so come hang out with us there. Of course, you can always hit up the podcast if you miss any part of the show, or the rewind function on the Odyssey app, which is free to download. Let's get to Kevin, who's in San Antonio. We were talking about the Lakers. I think a misstep by JJ Redick to even partially shade Luka Doncic on his weight, saying everyone needs to be in championship shape. I wonder who he's talking about there. And then also we're asking if LeBron James has any influence left in the front office. Kevin, what do you think?
I think I just woke up. I heard this. And thank you for waking me up. I was thinking that the Lakers need to clean house. They need to clean house, have LeBron James retire, and start over. It's too much drama right now. Luka, he out of shape. I look at him on TV. He is totally out of shape. All he do is worry about shooting 3-pointers.
Well, I mean, that's the league today, though, Kevin. I mean, a lot of guys shooting threes. He's definitely, listen, could you call into question Luka's conditioning? Yeah, he got traded out of Dallas for it, most likely. But the other part is, maybe is it also on the coach to not run him into the ground? Like, there also has to be some kind of, like, you know, a thought there that you're trying to maximize your players, not have them have zero left in the tank for the last 5 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Right, but this has been a consistent criticism of Luka. It's not just this series because we've obviously heard this before.
No, definitely. But he also did hurt his back in this game.
Yeah.
Now, listen, he's played through injuries before.
Because he's not doing enough sit-ups.
I want to
planks.
Because what happened is that you're right, Maggie and Perloff. It is the coach's fault. You got to have a bench. You got to play together. Don't focus on LeBron James or Luka and gas them out. That's the problem. They don't have a bench.
Yeah.
That killed.
Yeah, Kevin, it's a great point. They didn't have the depth. They didn't play the type of defense that they needed to, and then everything gets called into question. But, we talk about Luka not being in shape. Like, let's not act like he's, I'm trying to think of who famously was like Baron Davis when he got, not even that. Like,
Why not?
Well, I'm just saying, I don't think he's at that level, no?
Well, he's not saying.
It's not Vin Baker or something like that who got really bloated or whatever.
JJ Redick never said anybody was overweight. He just said they need to work on their conditioning. I do have a problem. The reason he's standing out there taking all those threes is because he doesn't have, if he wanted to go, he is so effective down low. If he wanted to go down and just dominate guys down low, he's so strong. It's just he kind of plays tired. Like he just stands at the top of the three and doesn't move a lot when he's not playing his A game. Like when he's active and moving around, they're really hard to beat. But I think he must be frustrating to a coach. Like you know what I mean? Those threes. The reason he's firing up all those threes is because he doesn't want to dribble down and take contact. I get it. I'm the same way. But I think if he really upped his fitness and they got a more talent and they need a center to complement him like Dallas had last year, then maybe we're onto something.
888-710-4-ISN. EJ, can we throw it up on the poll, too, about Luka and JJ? Right move, wrong move, and also just how much influence does LeBron still have? Because that's fascinating offseason for them.
I think it is important. I saw Luka in the postgame interview saying like, he said he loves JJ Redick. He said this has been an incredible experience for what it's worth.
Yeah, you're supposed to lie in press conferences.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think JJ sort of fits the Luka mold. He said it reminded him of being in Europe. I kind of get that. I feel like there's a vibe going on here.
That JJ Redick is like playing in Europe?
Yeah, that he has sort of a European eye. The way the Europeans play offense, I think he thinks JJ is kind of views the game the same way.
Interesting. I listen. The Lakers, JJ did a fine job in the regular season. I didn't see anything that was totally mind-blowing here. I didn't see him revolutionizing the game. I saw that a superstar fell out of the sky, and they were able to win games because of it.
Yeah, maybe just talking kind of a wide-open offense. I'm not sure exactly what he meant, but I think maybe they're good friends. I mean, why? If you're Luka Doncic, can't you see him liking JJ Redick?
Yeah, but then I would say then the tactic is even more flawed because I think when you really respect a guy and when there's that mutual respect, I think the first overture and reaching out to somebody about something you want them to fix happens behind the scenes, not in a postseason press conference that happened 24 hours after you got eliminated. Like to me, or maybe I'll say myself, that's how I would expect a friend to ask. Like if you and I had an issue, and I would expect you would bring it to me off the air before you brought it to me on the air, right? Because we respect each other.
I think there's a sort of an old school tough love kind of thing going on here. I think in the past, I mean, how many times have coaches called out players in the past? And some great coaches probably, I don't have it in front of me. I'm sure back in the day, Red Auerbach.
Yeah, well, that's Red Auerbach.
I just say it like, I don't know. That, he might not have said anything to anybody, but this is not first time. And also, he said the team needs better conditioning. He didn't call out their families or anything. Come on, it wasn't. You're making it sound like Luka's going to demand a trade now because of that one little comment. Come on.
No, but it all matters. That's what I'm saying. It all matters, especially in this day and age.
This is not about JJ saving his job. This is about the Lakers finding a way to win a title in this brief window where Luka and LeBron are together. It's going to take a radical move to do that. Give me a radical move, Maggie.
I don't know if I have a radical move for you.
Yeah, I don't.
Because I don't think trading LeBron James is going to be on the table. And honestly, I don't even know if that's really the right thing to do.
No, I'm just trying to say, like, how do you get LeBron and Luka? Like, you need a couple pieces here. First of all, you got to go deeper than 5 players. You need somebody. God, can you get me Giannis? Can you get me a really effective center? Get me another good player. Get me a point guard. Come on, Rob Pelinka. I'm looking at you, Maggie.
Giannis. Like, pick up the phone like some CEO. Get me Giannis.
That's exactly what Plinkus told Linda Rambis.
Yeah.
After the season ended.
Linda Rambis, yeah.
I bet you Rich Paul called and be like, hey, Lakers, you better call Giannis. I mean, this is LeBron. He's going to get, something's going to happen here. It's going to be a great offseason.
All right. You're welcome to weigh in on the Lakers at 888-710-4ISN. But coming up, the story that will not go away and more salacious details around Bill Belichick.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Give the folks at North Carolina truth serum. You think they regret hiring Bill Belichick? Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. I'm going to answer my own question here, Pro, unless you'd like to take it first. Go ahead.
No, I don't think they do. I mean, who else were they going to hire? I mean, it's North Carolina football. They're the most irrelevant program in relation to their other program, the basketball team, probably in the country, maybe Kentucky football. Nobody cares about North Carolina football. All of a sudden, they're relevant. So I think they can put up with a lot of stuff.
Okay. I think you're right. I'm going to actually agree with you on this. We don't ever agree about anything.
Oh, I thought you were going to go the exact opposite.
No, well, usually we are on opposite sides of everything. But I actually don't think the regret's there yet. But I think they're starting to look at each other like, who did we just invite into the club? Because let's not forget, when Belichick first got this job, being the head coach, North Carolina football, it was a little unconventional. The athletic director reportedly was cut out of this decision, and he actually went to, or whoever on behalf of him, went to the board of directors and kind of did like this different avenue to get the head coaching job, kind of leaning on his success, obviously, in the NFL, and his celebrity to sort of put him at the top of the line. Remember, they were looking at people like Arthur Smith, or we thought maybe if Ryan Day had
Arthur
lost,
Smith,
the Ryan Day might be, if things had really, had not gone so well at the end of the season for Ohio State to win the national title.
I didn't hear Ryan Day.
There were a lot of names that were thrown out there.
For North Carolina for Ryan Day? Okay.
A lot of things thrown out there. But because you and I disagree about what kind of job that is, and how appealing it may or may not be, but obviously it's appealing to Belichick, and so he kind of circumvented like the normal route. Anyways, that's how he gets the job. Now he gets there, and first people had questions about the recruiting. It doesn't look like just Belichick being there is the boon that maybe many expected, right? Like he didn't get there, and all of a sudden it's 5-star after 5-star because they want to just get a little of the Belichick shine. Now the girlfriend. And, if he wins, this will not be a story, but he doesn't have the opportunity to show what he can do on a football field for months. And this story with him and his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, who's not just the girlfriend, she's the publicist. She's the self-proclaimed CEO of Belichick Productions. Okay. She's everywhere. Very influential. He asked her to be CC'd on all of his official correspondence, official emails coming from North Carolina. And we're just learning more and more about who this sort of at once mysterious woman is. And now maybe a fuller picture of her is coming into place. And it all just raises more questions. Because you hire a head football coach and one like Bill Belichick, you're expecting he has 100% complete control over the building.
You think I'm going to read the MRI?
That's what happened in New England. It was militaristic. It was focused. It was no outside noise. This is anything but. This is only outside noise. This has gone so tabloid, and I'm not even blaming the media here. They brought this on themselves. Writing a book, going on a book tour, Pearl, and she's there as the publicist, I guess. Terrible publicist because you didn't even have him show up in a North Carolina shirt. He's wearing a Navy hoodie that's like ripped and tattered, which we kind of know is Belichick style. But I could go back through 100,000 hours of footage of college coaches doing interviews on national outlets. You would not find one who's not wearing the shirt of their own college. a different academy. Even it's the Naval Academy. We all love the Navy, yay military. But come on, you have to be wearing your own stuff.
Well, I mean,
he was unprepared.
That one's a little different because Belichick's dad coached there. I mean,
fine, but you're the head coach of North Carolina now. You got to be wearing baby blue. We interviewed Roy Williams a couple weeks ago on Zoom. Delightful. He was wearing Carolina blue, and he's not even the coach anymore. You got to understand the assignment. And by the way, and that's a small thing, but here's the other part. He was unprepared for the interview. Because if she felt like she had to step in, Bill Belichick has been stiff-arming questions much harder than where did you two meet in the CBS Sunday Morning interview for the last 20 years. He can handle himself.
Oh, wait. That's the funny thing about this whole story. Everyone's acting like this is the first time Bill Belichick has had the most awkward interview in the history of sports. He has the next 10 most awkward interviews. He's always... on to Cincinnati, someone said, who are you going to start at left tackle? On to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
He's always totally insane in interviews. It's been happening for 30 years.
Okay.
Why is this shocking people? Looking at people like they're crazy when they answer questions. He's done that silence. I've seen him just like stare at somebody after they ask a question many times.
That's what I'd be expecting.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting the 24-year-old girlfriend / publicist to have to say, we're not answering that question. He's never had someone else have to come in and do his bidding for him. That's the thing.
But the thing about where they asked like about the Instagram photos, and he just looked at him like that's happened. That's always Bill Belichick. That's more the norm than the exception.
And that's not the part I thought was out of character. The part that's out of character is that she felt like she had to butt in on Bill Belichick, who has had to answer questions about things 100 times more serious.
Yeah.
And times when he really stonewalled the media. He's a master class at times of doing this. He's mastered the awkward interview. He didn't need her to come in and make it 3 times as awkward. And by the way, that was just what we saw. Allegedly, and according to TMZ, and then it was verified by others, that she stormed out of the interview. She expected Bill to come out there with her. Now Bill's daughter-in-law, his son Steven, who's coaching at North Carolina, and maybe the heir apparent to him at North Carolina, his wife, Belichick's daughter-in-law, is commenting on an Instagram post of a Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski podcast that said she was acting on a publicist would act more professionally than this. And the daughter-in-law is 100% right. Add on top of it, we get more details about what went down between Hard Knocks, HBO's Hard Knocks, and North Carolina. When I tell you, you read the emails back and forth, Pearl, this was at the 1 yard line where North Carolina was going to be the off-season Hard Knocks. It was going to be like spring football or whatever with the North Carolina Tar Heels. She got involved. We got more details about what she wanted. She wanted to see the dailies every day, the cuts, the final cuts, right? Before. And she also said, and allegedly this came down in an email too, that she wanted to be treated with respect by the production crew. And I don't know where that came from or why she felt like she had to say that. And HBO said, forget it. Like, what, not that they wouldn't treat her with respect, but like, where are the demands coming from? You already get a certain amount of editorial control when you sign up for Hard Knocks, Pearl, but not seeing the finished products before it goes out to air.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's a lot. So I ask you, if you gave North Carolina Truth Serum, would they regret the hire? Again, I think college football programs are so win-loss conscious. They got to give them a shot here to fix it on the field. But it has been the rockiest of roads so far with him in Chapel Hill.
I saw a funny interview on the Howard Stern show. Did anybody see Howard Stern talking about it? And Robin Quiver sums it up. She goes, yeah, all that is true. But you know what? If you were 73-year-old Bill Belichick, you would do it too. And by the way, I'm sorry if, God forbid, I wasn't with my lovely wife. I can't kill Belichick for all this.
I will.
Well, but
come on.
Yeah,
EJ, you are being on a soapbox that I don't think you can deliver on. Dude, come on.
Creepy.
She's a smoke show. She's 24 and he's 73. What are we doing here? Why are we even discussing this? It's all worth it.
Well,
at the end of the day, I know this is all crazy about the program and it's going to end badly. Yes, that's all true. But listen, Bill Belichick doesn't seem to mind that much.
Okay, but here's the thing. Like you say, it's like 70. She's 73. She's 24. She's, half naked on a red carpet. She's obviously a beauty pageant, a beauty queen. And she's got all that.
She's very pretty.
She's extremely attractive. She's got all that. But you know what? There also is professionalism. And you laugh. There's discipline, there's professionalism, there's, drawing a line between your personal and professional life. It's not like Bill Belichick with his fame and fortune would not be hurting to find companionship.
He couldn't get a 24-year-old like that unless he sold the farm for it.
He's extremely foolish to be dealing with this, and it's dangerous.
It happens all the time, but I don't think
you could end up like some of the people in the media who are dealing with trouble like that.
If you're a 73-year-old who wants a 24-year-old girlfriend, you're going to have to deal with a lot of stuff.
Right. But you're saying like he's powerless against her because she's got the wiles of like the feminine wiles that she has.
No, I'm
saying at some point you got to be like a grown up about it.
No, I think he doesn't mind all this.
Does he not mind, or does he not understand? Maybe it's weird because sometimes you want to give Belichick a lot of credit for being pretty media savvy, actually, and other times,
when has Bill Belichick been media savvy?
I'm just saying he understands how the media works. He knows that these are going to be big stories, and at other times, I'm like, well, he's probably really not on social media. Did he see any of these posts that she's putting out there of him in a fisherman's costume and her in a mermaid costume? The cringe level is on tilt.
I do think it does seem he has a way of compartmentalizing in his life, and I don't think he cares that much.
Okay, well, other people around him care.
Yeah, no, I think your question about the program is very relevant. Are they embarrassed by all this? And I think a question EJ's been asking: would an NFL team ever want all this? Probably not. But I don't think Bill Belichick has the regrets.
So here's the difference, I think, between NFL teams and college teams. NFL teams don't really have to fight for attention. Like there's some that are more relevant than others. Cowboy fan, Cowboys, the Steelers, Green Bay Packers, but you're not really fighting for the attention. I bet if you went to the Carolina Panthers or Jacksonville, they wouldn't say they have a media problem. College football, on the other hand, is a little different because you're trying to recruit people to you, right? And it's more of a game. It's there's money aspect now, but you do want a certain degree of attention. Look what Deion just did for Colorado. Look what Deion's celebrity did for the Colorado program. I'm sure North Carolina wants some of that, but it seems to be backfiring because the all publicity is good publicity. I know that's a cliche. But for Belichick, I feel like this has more been embarrassing for him.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is, I think the question is, North Carolina's never won. Never. I just looked up, they've had 2 top 10 finishes since 1950. And it was number 9 with Lawrence Taylor, and they had a random number 6er. They've never won at high level. So there's not much to lose in the win-loss sense. I think you're asking, if you're not going to win anyway, then at least don't embarrass yourself. But I think they can look at this and say, we have the greatest coach in football history. Like, how did we get this guy? I think there's still a lot of that energy. I think the embarrassment is balanced out by the fact that you have Bill Belichick as your football coach. I'll bet you there's still a lot of excitement around North Carolina. This is going to be the highest rated North Carolina football game in the history of the program, week 1. Whoever that,
TCU,
yeah. This is going to be like Deion. I mean, there's more excitement about North Carolina football than really ever. I can't remember a moment where we've ever talked about North Carolina football.
Yeah, well, but we're not talking about it for the right reasons. I don't know if that matters, but we're talking about it because Belichick is acting so out of character.
Well, to be fair though, we would have. It's still, even if none of this happened, we would have been talking about Bill Belichick coaching North Carolina. It'd still be the most exciting North Carolina game.
No doubt.
I think in this moment, you're losing track of the fact that they happen to score this great football coach. Yes, this is all embarrassing, but if he goes 9-3, is it going to be okay?
So this is where I feel like we're not at like a rock bottom situation. Like I don't want to make this out to be like Belichick needs an intervention. Although there are some people who believe that, he's kind of lost his way here. But when Charles Barkley is commenting about how he's concerned about your personal life, Charles Barkley, okay, then, maybe it is time to pay attention. Here's Chuck on the DP show, on Perloff's former show, Dan Patrick's show, said he is beginning to get concerned about Belichick.
I'm not sure what's going on. He's been a great friend for me for a long time. We've been friends since he coached for the Browns. I think he got to be very careful right now. This is starting to be on a very slippery slope.
Okay, more from Chuck, Charles Barkley, Said he doesn't like delving into people's personal relationships, but he's thinking about reaching out to Belichick personally to see if everything's okay.
From what I'm hearing, it's starting to be a very slippery slope. And I never talk about people's personal relationship. That's another rule I got. But I will admit I'm a little concerned with some of the stuff that's going on. And I might actually reach out to him and make sure everything's good. But I am concerned from what I'm hearing because it's not a good look right now. I'll admit that.
Charles Barkley, how much stuff is in his past, in his personal life? Like, this is not exactly a life coach we're talking about here, Charles Barkley. I mean, this guy once threw somebody else through a plate glass window. This is to be concerned about someone else's personal life. I found that to be very noteworthy, Pearl, that Charles Barkley admitted that on Dan Patrick's show.
Oh, I don't know. It's Charles Barkley. He says a lot of things.
He sounded very serious there.
Really? Oh, but come on. Charles, you can't take everything he says seriously.
You think he was joking?
No, I mean, I just think he says a lot of things. That's all I will say. They were talking about him last night on the show. He wasn't there. Did you see Jalen Rose was sitting in?
Yeah.
They had about a half-hour conversation about how weird he is. He said this is to me like.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the messenger here, Charles Barkley, like you said, that doesn't scream of, if Barkley says you have a problem, then you really got to get in trouble. I just think Charles Barkley has strong opinions, and I'm sure Barkley will probably forget about this in 2 days.
Well, I don't know about that. It is Charles, but he did actually sound concerned there. Like you know, I don't want to put words around it. You kind of treat this flippantly, like, guys, let Bill live. You know, he netted a 24-year-old. She's beautiful. Like, why is everyone trying to yuck the yums? Like, just get out of the way and let him get the rocks off or whatever you're trying to say.
Edelman and Gronk gave a really good speech. Like, guys, you got to just let him be. This is ridiculous.
Right, and there's that side of it. But then you have Charles Barkley, who I would think would fall into that camp. Everybody get off his back. Like, let Bill, let the man live. And he's like, I'm starting to get concerned because this is a slippery slope. And the other thing about this story, we're asking you if Bill Belichick, if North Carolina, if you gave him truth serum, are they regretting the Belichick hire? The other weird part about the story, guys, and maybe we're into it very much because we're in the media, is it won't stop. So yesterday we get the news that somehow only months after Jordan Hudson, Belichick's girlfriend, after they meet, she's amassed an $8 million real estate portfolio. Fine. People get money from all different types of places, but it didn't seem like she was kind of painted at first like student, like a college student, and didn't really come from means. We've now seen we got a little background on her family. Her family's business, unfortunately, went out of business. A fisheries company in Maine, and then the mom now works at a sex toy shop in Provincetown, Massachusetts, and it doesn't seem like they're sitting on a fortune. But I might be wrong. But now she's got this massive portfolio. The New York Post is going to interview the tenants that she has. And I'm not ordering a blow-up doll. Still no. The answer is still no. She's driving around in a Porsche, whatever. It's just, the story won't stop.
Adult toy-shaped feet.
Maybe. Now it sounds like the way you describe all this, they got to play a game in North Carolina, get one under their belt.
Yes.
Hopefully win one. Yeah, I mean,
if they could play tomorrow, this would help.
The reason why I think there's also regret with this too, though, is there's no way any of this is also helping him as a head coach, and that to me is where the regret comes in too. It's not even just the optics, which look crazy. I do not care what Gronk, Julian Edelman, give me a break. Those guys are going to tell me about what morals and stuff. Come on,
decorum.
Why are morals part of this? This is about football, right?
Well, it's morals because they're public figures, and a 74-year-old man met someone who was 20 years old, and they're in a public relationship. That will never not be weird. To act like this is just this is just everyday, normal. But it's not.
But it's not amoral necessarily, is it?
Depends if both people are getting what they want out of it. Yeah. Right?
But I think maybe it is. Actually, that wasn't a statement. Maybe there is something morally off with this. She's taking advantage of him.
Or he's taking advantage of her.
Yeah, how many elderly abuse cases do we have with people
that's
who marry
a
somebody at 80 years old and then take all their money? I think that's a reality to deal with. And again, I kind of loosely talked about it, but again, Shannon Sharpe is dealing with a situation where he has a 20-year-old OnlyFans account. He's 56, and he's dealing with this, case that he has a lawsuit. Like, these are things that happen, and I'm not, casting aspersions on who's lying or whatever. It's just you invite very dangerous elements when you have age gaps like this. And I do feel like if I'm North Carolina, even beyond the optics, though, do you really think that if he's doing all this stuff that he's really locked in the way he was with the Patriots? Like, he made it clear that they won because it was all for one for all, and there was no distractions. Now he's not coaching that way. He's literally doing something entirely different. He wanted Hard Knocks. He has this woman who's going to be, doing all the social media, and she's deeply involved in the program. This is not the Patriot way. This is not the Belichick way. So if I'm North Carolina, this is not what I paid for.
Yeah, but Maggie said that the ex-girlfriend before this was running the show in a similar way. And
well, that was now some new stuff that's coming out that, Linda was also his old girlfriend, but we don't have like the reporting on that.
Well, it just doesn't seem like, it seems like Bill could still be focused on football. It doesn't look like he's giving a lot of prep to his CBS interviews time. Like, doesn't look like he thought about that for 1 second. It doesn't even get the sense that he even knows what's in the book.
He's on a book tour.
Yeah, I know, but that was going to happen anyway. I just thinking the book tour, and he doesn't seem that invested in the book tour. I haven't barely even heard him say anything about the book. Like, I honestly don't even know if he knows what's in the book.
Well, I'm hoping he actually wrote the book.
Honestly, he doesn't seem super engaged in all this. So maybe he is thinking about football?
I don't know. I mean, again, would he even spend time on a book tour? Would he even write a book? This is a guy who lambasted the media. People who wrote books about him said that this is crap. None of this I said was true. Like, this is a different person.
Yeah.
This is not Bill Belichick. And again, if I'm North Carolina, I'm like, this is not what I signed up for.
I got to be.
You signed up for the Patriot way.
Yeah, you signed up for the Patriot way, not Jordan's way.
I got to imagine the book thing might have started before Jordan. How long?
The book he probably wrote when he was out of coaching last year. Remember, he had 5 media jobs. Like, I'm imagining he wrote the book then.
Yeah.
That's different.
Right.
But I'm saying, like, that was happening anyway, whether or not Jordan Hudson. I don't think the book is because of her.
No, but I mean, if he's a media member and he's writing a book, like, he's not prepping for Miami next week, right? He's not running spring practice.
I'm just saying that has nothing to do with Jordan Hudson per se.
Maybe not. Yeah. He does acknowledge her in the book, calling her his creative muse. 888-710-4ISN, which I didn't know those 2 words would be 2 that Bill Belichick would ever put together. 888-710-4476. We kid. But the question is, do you think North Carolina is regretting the hire? Well, I know we're on in the great state of North Carolina. I'm curious for the fans there. North Carolina has alums all over this country. They're a huge, huge program. And obviously, Belichick is as famous as it comes. Regrets yet? 888-710-4ISN. Coming up, one young quarterback calling his shot. Tell you about that next. Yay, military.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Town with suspicion in his eyes, saying Kaplan's got a secret and he's hiding it inside. Zach Jones lost in darkness, Ryan Stream's a mess, Chappelle Wolf's just a spinning wheel. Oh Lord, what a distress.
2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This NASCAR race preview is sponsored by WeatherGuard Truck and Van Equipment. They're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. So by the way, on a side note, is Beyonce touring right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so a big discussion if you have to dress like a cowboy to go to the Beyonce concert now.
You have to, like it's mandatory?
Yes, and I saw a lot of people. Has she been in New York? Because I've seen a lot
it kicked off in Houston, right?
Well,
I'm not up to that.
For whatever reason, cowboy hats are a thing in New York City now, and I wonder if it's because of her.
Okay, can I make an admission here?
Yeah.
I didn't know that cowboy hats are a thing, but I have an awesome pair of cowboy boots, and I've been wanting to wear them, and I was worried you guys would call me out on it because obviously I'm not,
Did you borrow them from Shaq?
But you have to go to the concert.
Yes, we have the same size shoe. Thank you, Manny. Never change.
You have to go to the concert, then you're fine.
Well, I'm just wondering, could I wear my cowboy boots in here and get no comments from the peanut gallery?
Maggie, men don't notice anything.
Okay.
You would no one would say anything.
Maggie, your hair looks very nice today.
I went to get it
I
done.
know,
Yes.
'cause I
See,
noticed.
Bogusch is the noticer.
Actually, I have to be honest. I like your shirt jacket today.
Thank you. You want to know where this was purchased? Target.
That's cool.
I know.
Awesome. So anyway, what a weekend at Talladega. You had four wide racing.
I don't notice this.
Yeah, you had four wide racing last week at Talladega, a close finish. Joey Logano, he was cursing at his teammate, Austin Cindric, who actually won the race on the comms. It was thrilling, and the thrills of the NASCAR Cup continues. It's a Worth 400 from Texas Motor Speedway. Denny Hamlin in that number 11 for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's the defending race champion. Can he get win number 2 of 2025? It's the Worth 400 from Texas Motor Speedway. Green flag waves, Sunday, 3:30 Eastern.
I was giving you a great hook for that because Beyonce, Texas Motor Speedway.
Well, I mean, that's you see, they don't just give
They
these jobs to
should have
anybody.
a pre-race concert like she did at the the Thanksgiving games last year.
She
And
was the
Maggie
best
can
part
show
of
up
those
in her
games.
boots. I mean, she blew out the Super Bowl halftime show.
Well, yeah, that was a couple years ago, right? When
I'm saying like her Thanksgiving show wasn't
Christmas.
It was Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas. Sorry, the production was like 20 times bigger than the production of Kendrick Lamar. Just like the number of people and horses and everything. She had like a halftime Super Bowl show. Kendrick had just a concert.
Yeah. No, she was incredible. I guess she's in L.A. now. Looks like Los
that
Angeles.
tour's coming.
Did I read that she's having trouble selling tickets?
I heard that too, yes. Because, I mean, who can afford $2,000 tickets to sit up in the nosebleeds?
Is that what it is?
Well, they're expensive.
They're very expensive. And Andrea's going anyway.
Where is she playing?
New York,
football
New
stadiums?
Jersey. She's coming.
Yeah, she's playing MetLife.
Yeah.
Every stadium. And Beyonce doesn't do
She doesn't do the Garden
arenas anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah, everything's a stadium. But the tickets are crazy.
She's not going to Wells Fargo Center. She's going to the Link, bro.
Is she going to the Link? I don't see the Link here.
Is she? Oh, that's a shame.
Smart woman.
Sorry, she's going straight from New Jersey to London.
Yeah,
So,
sorry,
catch her next time.
Philadelphia, you losers.
Just diss Philadelphia.
Yeah, super diss on Philly, which is funny because Jay-Z has that picnic every year, right? In Philly, does he still
Made
do
in
that?
America.
Made
He
in
did for a
America.
while. I don't know
That
if he still
picnic.
does.
She just
Oh,
called
no,
Made in
that
America
thing's still going on.
picnic.
Because
I
we
know.
go and visit my parents every Labor Day, and it's always annoying. Because they
Where do
knock
all these
out.
people come from? Where do all these people? It's
No,
like
they
every
knock
year.
out the Schuylkill because it's right by the path anyway. What's it called? The All American? Or
Made in America.
Made in America.
Big old picnic.
Got Kendrick next week. Kendrick coming in MetLife. That's going to be massive.
Yeah, okay.
Are you going?
EJ
I'm
Stewart
going,
will
yeah.
be there.
Oh,
nice.
awesome.
All right, well, that's your music update. Let's get to Bogusch, who's got the headline.
Apparently, Clippers head coach Ty Lue made some phone calls on their off day before last night's Game 6 with the Nuggets. He wanted to make sure his guys were in the right mindset to save their season. The checkups worked with the Clips fighting off the Nuggets in L.A. last night, 111-105. So Lue gets to coach Game 7 in Denver tomorrow.
These are what you live for, growing up as a kid, being in the playoffs, Game 7s. And so we got to come, ready to go, especially with a defensive mindset, but offensively being aggressive, attacking the paint, attacking the basket, and go from there.
Those are things they did last night. Lue getting 28 points from James Harden, 27 from Kawhi Leonard, and the Nuggets only scored 48 second-half points. Now, it looked like we might have a Game 7 at MSG tomorrow as well. The Pistons going from down 12 to a 7-point lead with 2.5 minutes left in Game 6 in Detroit, but could not extend their season. Jalen Brunson hit a tie-breaking 3 with 4 seconds left. Then Malik Beasley fumbled away Detroit's last possession.
You can't dwell on it too much. You got to get ready for the next season. It's my favorite part of the season, the off-season. It's where I get better, and you just got to stay in tune with the guys and continue to get better this whole summer.
My favorite part is the part where we don't have games.
Who needs Brunson?
That's what you can get in the lab.
Is that what they call it these days?
Of course.
I was distracted by these doofuses doing hand signals, too. What do you guys-
Miming.
Oh, what happened, Malik Butterfinger?
Oh, that was that?
Yeah. He dropped the ball, so it's like, should have had butter on that popcorn before the game.
I would quit your day jobs over there. I don't know if you guys are going to be doing any improv theater anytime
or
soon.
trash talking.
But I understand what you're talking about. Is there any party? I don't feel bad necessarily because they're professional athletes and this is what they get paid for. But when your season ends on your blunder,
He's a clown.
I mean, but how do you that?
I mean, and he's had a very good season, and I really seriously, he was one of the best shooters in the league. I think he should have won 6th Man of the Year. But this is the Malik Beasley experience. He's kind of a knucklehead, and you lose a game before Game 5. He was like, "Oh, guys, stop messing around my Instagram. It's just basketball."
Right.
Even though he's been talking crazy about how they're the bad boy Pistons, and they win, and he's talking crap again. How they're the mentally tougher team, and in a mental tough situation, he can't catch the ball.
Got to get Kate Cunningham some better help than Malik Beasley.
I just am wondering, it's not even just basketball. Like Mark Andrews had to sit there all off
Yeah,
season, right? And
similar.
just think about those drops. And it's just, you don't have it's not like, okay, next week we have another game. Let's put it behind us. Like you can't put it behind.
It's a bit of apples. I mean, Mark Andrews is a great borderline, probably not a Hall of Fame player, but close. And the Ravens were the favorites to win the Super Bowl. The Pistons don't even belong here.
I get it. I'm
they're
saying
just
the individual
lucky they're in the
athlete,
East. Yeah, to end that way. I see what you're saying. It's like he didn't just miss the last shot of the season. He didn't even get the shot off.
Right. I mean, it happened at the end of the national championship game in basketball. Like, you just have to live with this now.
But I do think he's one of those guys, to his credit. He's kind of like an irrational confidence guy. I can see him forgetting about this next week, and then just moving on with his life.
Oh, pro athletes can do that too. I've seen guys, they don't seem to care. Like 12 hours after the game, fans are much more upset than pro. I mean, to some of these guys, it's a job. You have to remember that.
I know, but I've also seen the opposite where I've interviewed guys 20 years after a blown save or 20 years after a dropped touchdown pass or whatever, and they'll remember that more than the wins.
I can't get you Malik Beasley or Mark Andrews on the phone this morning, but I can offer you my son Jake, who made a mistake last night in his Little League game.
Same.
Caused his team.
Tell us everything.
Caused his team not to win. If you want to see how he's feeling this morning when he wakes up.
All on him.
I hope he's turned the page. He's got another game coming up, though.
JJ Redick over there blaming Jake for the loss.
Yeah, you might want to do this behind closed doors.
Strikeout, a mental mistake. What happened?
So it was just a regular Little League game, thankfully, which doesn't technically count.
Get this guy off my team.
And there was a ground ball to shortstop. He was playing second, and he just dropped the flip to him to get a force. So instead of being runner only at first and 2 outs, there were 2 on and 1 out, and the next kid hit a 3-run home run to tie the game.
What inning?
This is the last inning. This is it. So he was not bummed at all.
He was already thinking about turning the double play.
No, he just dropped it because he knew that he wasn't going to. You can't turn 2 on in Little League. The bases are too close. So he just dropped it. He just straight dropped it, and he couldn't have cared less. And we were walking away.
And you were breaking clipboards and throwing things.
I was. He was saying
Savages in the box.
Because when he dropped the ball, the kid took like 1 step past second base and then got back. Jake tagged him, and Jake was telling him that he was out. And I'm like, okay, but you know the real problem with the sequence, right? He's like, yes, I dropped it. I'm like, okay. I was like, okay, good. So let's stop talking about the ump missed the tag call.
So here's a question about your parenting. Do you bring it up before the next game? Hey, remember, keep your head in the game because what happened last time? What do you do here?
I'm yanking you if you don't.
No, so I do have. I saw this from
that bench.
Yeah, I saw this somewhere that a post-game conversation about anything good or bad means nothing. The game's over, especially negative stuff. So we don't talk about anything after the game.
So the car ride home is not just dead silent. You can cut the tension with a knife.
Unless he wants to talk about something, he's left alone for the rest of the day, basically.
Okay.
I wish you were my dad.
But yesterday, he brought up, he was like complaining about the ump, and I was like, the ump has nothing to do with this.
He was watching JB Bickerstaff's
if you don't drop the ball, then there's no tag and there's no ump, and you should have caught that.
You said that's loser energy.
I mean, I didn't say loser energy, but I said you kind of it doesn't matter what happened after you dropped the easy throw.
I have a very important question for you, Bogusch.
Yeah.
Is there any possibility that CB Bucknor was doing both Mets and this game? Because that guy
was Angel Hernandez
awful.
there.
Dude, not even to get into the weeds, but there's another guy on that crew, John Bacon, who's worse than CB Bucknor, which is a compliment. He is awful.
It's crazy. It's crazy. This Met series was insane.
Well, I guess we're delighted to another season of winning Little League baseball.
By the way,
we didn't lose. We ended in a 6-6 tie because of that. So.
I think elite athletes like Malik Beasley and Jake, they just move on. You got to be in the present.
He didn't even have to move on. It was like the friends line. He's like, I'm over you. He's like, when were you under me? He's like, Jake was never bothered by this to move on.
I think that is the healthiest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It is great.
Because he's also 11.
I think this is the key to being good at sports is to never, ever, ever think. You cannot get in your head.
You're right.
Like the only thing that hurts any athlete is getting in their head. And it doesn't seem like Jake's confidence is going to be wavered.
I know, but he wasn't thinking last night when he needed to catch a flip.
Yeah, but if he dwells on that, it ain't going to help him next time.
No, I guess not.
Yeah, but Malik Beasley cannot. He's got to forget this. That next time when he's in the play-in tournament next year. I'm being serious. I think it's really healthy to just not be bothered. Keep it positive.
I love stewing in anger after I mess up or my team messes up.
I used to cry after I lost every time.
The all-time greats probably do learn from their losses. But.
Yeah, just couldn't. A good cry helps though.
Were you a racket thrower, racket smasher?
No. You can't do that. That's not. No, and I don't condone it either.
I actually have audio of Maggie when she was a child.
You cannot be serious.
Well, you couldn't lose the big feet, but the deep voice at least went away.
I know. It's funny.
Reverse puberty.
I wanted to. Believe me. We didn't actually have line judges because I wasn't good enough. Call your own. It's the honor system.
I had an amazing tennis controversy. I played when I was on the 8th grade tennis team.
Oh, yeah. Let's
the whole
hear it
team.
all.
There was a huge drama. My best friend, Brooke.
Frank called
Shador
Sanders.
He got stuck in doubles with Murray Goldstein, and nobody wanted to play with Murray. And he was upset at the coach. So he served, and he beamed Murray in the back of the head as a doubles partner.
What?
And they had to stop the match.
So teammate on teammate crime?
What was wrong with Murray?
Picture you had someone serving and hitting his partner in the back of the head.
On purpose.
Yeah, I don't think he thought he was going to actually hit him. And they had to stop the match, everybody.
Wait, I want to know why Murray was so hated.
If the coach stuck you with Murray, you're like, I'm not going to win. Murray never wins.
Has there any been great athlete named Murray Goldstein? I mean, come on, Bogusch. You're asking questions you already know the answer to.
There's never been a great athlete named Murray. I mean, there's Keegan Murray.
Andy Murray.
Eddie Murray.
Yeah, last name Murray, possible. First name Murray, no.
Definitely.
That's a
you're
good
right.
question.
Who's the best athlete named Murray?
But
I got a hockey player named Murray Craven, but that's it.
Yeah,
I don't even know any
He
other
beat him in the back of the
Murrays.
head. Oh my gosh!
But it was 8th grade, so it probably wasn't going like 100 miles an hour.
Doesn't matter.
We laughed so hard.
According to the NBA, and according to Basketball Reference, there's only 2 players in NBA history with the first name Murray. They both played only 1 year, and that year was 1950.
Nothing has made more sense
They both played for
than that.
CCNY. Wow.
They were guarding George Mikan.
Can I tell you one thing? We thought it was 8th grade.
5'7" dudes.
We thought it was really funny. I'm going to say something really controversial. You guys aren't going to like it. I've floated the Shedeur Sanders prank call by some young people. They think it's hysterical. I'm sorry. Like
that's not happening.
That is right in the genre of 8th graders and 9th graders.
That's why they suck.
Well, hold on.
This guy's 21.
This is a 21-year-old who's getting an approval rating from 8th and 9th graders.
Yeah, I just
go
think
to a bar.
my daughter's like, there is a culture of,
Get off of Roblox.
pranks out there. Like the kids have not moved off pranks apparently. Like, so it is. It's not totally shocking that this happened. That's what I'm saying.
Pranks are mad in right now. Like
yeah,
TikTok,
that's what my daughter was
Instagram.
saying.
My favorite prank. It's terrible, and I'm afraid it's gonna happen to me. But have you seen the guy who, like, these 2 guys who throw water balloons at guys in the train and then turn around as if they're not like they're doing like an interview for like a TikTok? And the person in the train is like, did you guys just throw a water balloon at me? It's like, no, we were sitting there doing this TikTok video.
Wait. And the water balloon breaks and gets water all over the person?
That's not a prank.
You are asking to get stabbed if you do that.
I know.
100%, yes.
But like they're so
Not
good at
happening
it
in
that no
East New
one
York.
thinks is like they're always able to convince a person it's not them.
Because they're doing this fancy interview.
They're doing this fancy interview, right?
God.
So they're like, they throw the water balloon, and then before it even leaves their hand, basically, they turn around, and they start talking about like
whatever,
anything. And then the guy, sometimes they don't even confront the people because they're like, "What just happened?"
Oh my god!
Yeah, no. What happened with Shedeur was not in a vacuum. Apparently, there's a lot of that energy out there because of social media and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you could get people. Anyway,
Guys, society's going to hell in a handbasket.
well,
I mean, let's just call it
my
what it
only
is.
point was when you're in 8th grade, things that we consider ridiculous might seem, there's maturity. We're
You think?
mature.
Yeah, we're very mature.
You can't
on this
expect kids to not be kids. I don't know how I got that, but we thought it was hysterical when Brooke drilled Murray in the back of the head. It was like the funniest thing that ever happened in the tennis. First of all, to have the aim, like we were not a great tennis team either. I was like, wow, that was a good serve.
And do you remember what Murray said afterwards?
You cannot be serious.
And Murray was probably getting carted to the nearest Lower Merion hospital.
But the funny thing is, like getting hit by a tennis ball really doesn't, you're not going to get knocked out by a tennis ball.
Well, let's
fine.
Dan Perloff in front of Rafael Nadal.
Yes.
That would hurt a lot. To get hit in the back of the head and you're not expecting it.
That's not what I'd be worried about if I was getting served.
Oh, yeah, get a hit in the...
yeah. I would just stand there in a soccer position if I was served. But, wow, we got way off track there.
Well, yeah, thank you for the trip down memory lane. 888-710-4-ISN. Good morning to Murray Goldstein, wherever you are.
Do not
what
put
a tennis team. It's you and a guy named Murray.
This is the category of do not put this clip out on social because we already have offended some of my other old friends who I tell embarrassing stories about.
Well, listen, when one of your friends loses a fake eye mid-coitus, we're going to talk about it. Looking at you, Bruce.
He had to say his name. Just stop saying his name.
I'm winking at you, Bruce.
Oh,
stop saying his name. Can we keep anything private on the show?
Bill. Looking at you, Bill.
By the way, can we keep anything private? Meanwhile, Bogusch came in and sold out his son for an error in a Little League game. We're awful. Yeah. We're awful people.
All for the show.
I learned from watching you.
710-4-ISN. Learned it from Brooke, whoever hit Murray in the back of the head. Jerry Jones, let's talk about the Cowboys next because they've been up to something interesting.
You cannot be serious.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Sound. It means the Cowboy Quickie. I haven't checked in on the Dallas Cowboys in a while, and I'm looking the part today because apparently Cowboy hats are in New York City, according to Perloff, so I found one in the office.
Looks great.
Thank you. This is from the Professional Bull Riders Tour. They came and left us, brought us a gift, brought us some Cowboy hats.
Do you feel different wearing that hat?
I feel badass.
Yeah.
Which is not something I normally associate with myself. So there we go. Anyway, Cowboys, let's get to it. So you sent us this audio yesterday, Pearl. You thought this was hilarious. This is basically our lives outside the show, is us just sending each other funny stuff. And have we still figured out who this person is?
Oh, I was supposed to do some homework. This is actual a media member. We're not sure.
All right. Well, Perloff dropped the ball. We'll figure out who it is, but first we'll play you the sound. So Tyler Booker was the first-round pick of the Dallas Cowboys, okay? Not surprising. They take a guard. This is what the Cowboys do. He supposedly had a nickname in college. The nickname was the Jalen Carter Stopper, okay? But this person is here to pour cold water on that.
They drafted a guy who they call the Jalen Carter Stopper, right? The guy who plays for the Eagles, right? So then I went and did my homework. They said this guy hasn't given up a sack in 2 years, right? But when he did give up a sack, he gave up 3 his freshman year. So I went to rolling and rolling. I'm like, so who the did he give those 3 sacks to? All against Georgia. Who was at Georgia 3 years ago?
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter. So then I'm like.
So, by the way,
Who is this person? This is on you to figure out who this person is.
I'm still working on it. But I think they
Still
started calling him, and they drafted him to be the Jalen Carter Stopper. I don't think he was called the Jalen Carter Stopper in college. Because why would you call him that in college?
There's more to this, apparently. Let's hear it.
Drafted a guy who they say is Jalen Carter Stopper. When he did play Jalen took him to the woodshed. So what the are we doing?
Whoever this person is, it's entertaining. It's very, very funny.
Yeah, it's Philly Scott Van Pelt at Hauser Bread. Yeah, sorry. Not sure, but this guy, I think he's a fan blog. A fan blog. It's a great point. I found it interesting too. Like, do you need a Jalen Carter Stopper now in the NFL? Has he become a singular player?
Oh, I see what this is. This was just a back doorway for you to talk about Eagles pass rusher Jalen Carter.
Well, I mean, is that why the Cowboys drafted Tyler Booker? Because they're worried about Jalen Carter coming up the middle? I thought that was very flattering because I don't even think of Jalen Carter like that.
I think they were thinking about Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah, that's another reason. I just thought it was funny because you have like the Lawrence Taylor stopper, you have Patrick Mahomes stopper, and now Jalen Carter. They didn't call him that in college. That means they drafted him to be
I think they drafted him to be the Zach Martin replacement. But I mean, that's big shoes to fill. I don't know if it was also to be the Jalen Carter stopper. But yeah, they want to make sure they're stout up the middle to give Dak a little time and maybe get a semblance of a run game going.
It just made me laugh too that there's a guy who's good enough to be the number 12 pick in the NFL. Probably didn't let up a sack for his last 2 seasons, but he still, in his wildest dreams, couldn't stop Jalen Carter. But Jalen Carter is like a fast-moving house on the field.
It is true.
Yeah, I like when narratives are disrupted, and yeah, you're right. It was a way to dunk on the Cowboys as an Eagles fan, 100%.
That's your Cowboy Quickie.
The Cowboys had a good draft. The Cowboys are so funny. They are this hype team, and all they do is draft the trenches and these like low, they can't get any of the skill position players, but they're drafting great linemen and defensive linemen all over the place.
I'm wondering if the Cowboy fans really think they had a great draft because you thought you were coming out of it with a wide receiver to help CeeDee Lamb. Doesn't have to be in the first round, but any kind of help, and it didn't seem like they got that.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what fans always want, skill position players, but I think the real drafts you build in the trenches. That's how great teams, that's what the Eagles do. The pass rusher they got out of BC, his 2-minute highlight package of the draft, I'm like, oh my God, how did that guy fall in the second round? But then again, I said that about everybody. I think they're a really good drafting team. They just don't do the other stuff well.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Coming up, we've got a major question about a team heading into perhaps their most important offseason in decades. Get to that next. Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, Lakers trying to move the page, pick up the pieces, and figure out how are they going to maximize Luka Doncic and LeBron James together. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and JJ Redick, because he's no shy violet, comes out and he's already taking shots at his own team. And we all know who he's talking about, Perloff, when he started talking about the team having to get into quote unquote championship shape. That was not a shot at Rui Hachimura. This is obviously Luka Doncic, and his conditioning has been a talking point now for 3-4 years?
Yeah, absolutely. I think where you and I disagree on this is, what does JJ Redick really have to lose here? If he can take some risk, I think you have to think radically. Like, how do you pressure Luka into being all that Luka can be? You need him to really step up on defense. How do you build, I think you have to take a sort of desperate swing to add to the roster. Like, the team that I saw, the Lakers, are not trending towards an NBA championship. I think it's time to really try and do things differently. And I think maybe that's what JJ Redick's all about. He's sort of a different NBA coach.
Okay, we're talking about two different things. One is roster construction, right? And we'll get into that in a minute, which I don't know how much control JJ or influence he'll have over that. They've got a front office for that. You've got influential agents in the building, like LeBron's agent, stuff like that. But I'm talking about the message you can control, which is your message to your players. And let's hear, Manny, JJ Redick from yesterday. So the body's not even cold yet, as they say. Season just ended, and you just had a gentleman's sweep at the hand of the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is crowing, leaving the arena. Everyone's talking smack. You fell way short of expectations this year by losing in the first round. And JJ Redick said some people need to get in better shape.
We have a ways to go as a roster, and certainly there are individuals that were in phenomenal shape. There's certainly other ones that could have been in better shape. That's where my mind goes immediately is we have to get in championship shape.
Okay, so JJ Redick is not stupid. He just worked in the media for the last few years successfully. He knows that if he brings up anything about getting in shape with regards to Doncic, and he didn't even mention Doncic, you don't even have to. This isn't just regular coach speak because of who's on your roster. He knows he's starting a fire potentially, and he's fanning flames certainly in the media. So publicly shaming the guy, I don't know if I would have taken that tact. I think the first thing you do is approach the dude behind the scenes, and I find it hard to believe he could have done that considering the season ended 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, but what good would that do? I mean, where are you going with that?
Maybe Doncic gets the point when you handle it behind the scenes.
Yeah, but I'm assuming that Dallas tried that too.
Well, Dirk Nowitzki, we know, I think they tried to have a conversation about that. But if you're the head coach, I question the tactic. I question the process. Yeah. And Brian Windhorst yesterday, who's as plugged in as anybody, had an interesting commentary on JJ where he said he felt like he coached immaturely during the playoffs. Not personally, but that he coached immaturely. And I think this is an extension of that.
Why would they do that?
I think this is an extension of, giving the moment a chance to breathe, number one, but two, at least trying to get to a guy behind the scenes first before you feel like you got to do the nuclear option, which is calling him out, even though it's not by name in the media.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. I kind of like the tough love situation here. Like, it's time to start calling people out on that Lakers team. The way they just lost in 5 games to a team that they were favored to beat. Like, you call people out.
Okay, well, I could call JJ Redick out because nobody's perfect. And if you want, superstars hold a lot of power in the NBA. And if I were Luka, and I'm not saying he is responding negatively to it. I'm just saying if he doesn't like being called out publicly, he could turn the howitzer back on JJ and say, why did you not give me a rest? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Redick hasn't done anything as a coach,
Yeah, but that it didn't. I know JJ Redick made a mistake playing all his starters second half, but that wouldn't have worked anyway. Luka can't say anything right now. He just got beat, And if Luka wants to get JJ fired because of this, what does that say about Luka?
Well,
that he can't get publicly called out, that he's thin-skinned?
I would just say, I think we did put this poll up literally yesterday with who do you blame most for the Lakers, falling out of the first round and losing in the first round. And I know this is unscientific, but JJ Redick and LeBron wore a lot more of that than Luka did. So I don't think the public is turning on Luka here.
But this isn't about the public. This isn't about Jay. This is about how do you win a championship. It's the only thing. You're a Lakers coach. You're a Lakers star. It doesn't matter if the public likes you. It doesn't matter who wins the poll. It matters how do I get a ring. And I think that's my point about both. You have to try something different. You have to try something a little radical. I mean, JJ Redick's a radical hire. The dude was in the television booth and doing a podcast with LeBron. I think you have to think differently and try different things. You can't just sort of hope that this all comes together magically.
See, I think the hiring of Redick shows just how much the antenna is up for the Lakers and how much they do respond to the public or what they see outside the building. It may end up being a great hire, but it was a media hire, right? And JJ had a great career.
But the media killed the hire.
No, but it was like, I think you're saying, yes, it's all about wins and losses for the Lakers, but I think the Lakers also are one of those teams that very much has their, licks a finger and puts it up to the wind to see what's going on, whether it's being influenced by the outside forces or inside. Why do we think Frank Vogel and Darvin Ham got fired? Because they were terrible coaches? No. They got fired for other reasons, mostly because I think the players didn't like them, and then the media got on them, and then it became a firestorm.
Well, that's why I like this.
That happens in real life.
I like this Redick doing something that obviously the media is not going to like, calling out his team, but that's kind of cool in a sense. This is JJ Redick doing things that are media friendly. He's doing the exact opposite. He's just unmedia friendly move after unmedia. He's doing what he has to do to think what he thinks he has to do to win. And honestly, what's the alternative? Like him playing the PR game? Where's the PR game gotten them?
Well, it's been 5 seconds. He's been coaching Luka for 3 months. This is not a lot of time has passed here. How well do you even know your star to know whether this is going to be effective?
We've been watching Luka for how many years has he been playing in the NBA? It seems like the same guy.
Well, here's the thing. You said that no one's ever, the Mavericks didn't call him out publicly. They just traded him.
Right.
It's as big of a public call out as you can possibly have.
Which is better? Should the Lakers just trade him then?
No, I'm just saying you're saying that Luka's never been called to the mat on this publicly about his conditioning. And I would say the trade in February was the contrary of that. That was, and then Nico Harrison leaked to every single reporter in the NBA that it was about the conditioning and the hookah and the beer and all that stuff.
Right. They got rid of him.
Right. So publicly, he has been
I know
called
what you
out
mean,
on this.
But they didn't try calling him out publicly before they traded him. As far as I know, I never saw the Mavs complaining about his conditioning. They might have. I just missed it. But regardless, what would you do, Maggie? How would you fix this shit?
First, I would go to the player because I always hear about guys wanting to be approached come to me like a man, man to man. Not having to go through the media. That feels desperate. And to be honest, I thought JJ coached desperate. The Maxi Kleber playing in the fourth quarter who hadn't played in 3 months and all that stuff. And this feels like a continuation of that. It's a desperation move when you're about to go into the offseason. We're not desperate yet.
I think the Lakers have to think desperate now. I think they have 1 year to figure out something, and they have to try go way, way outside the box. Otherwise, they're not getting out of this Western Conference. And if that happens, ultimately, Redick will only be judged by one thing. Does he win a title in L.A.?
Well, Frank Vogel won a title in L.A. How did that go?
Well, yeah. I mean, at least I think he did fine.
They fired him.
Yeah, but he got his reputation's fine.
Him.
But I'm just saying, JJ Redick will never, honestly, JJ Redick can make a million enemies. He walked out of the press conference. We didn't like the question. And all that matters for him is wins and losses. And you got it. They are a desperate team. What? You can't just roll the same team out next year.
Well, that's not going to. So that's different. That's team building.
You can't roll the same Luka out next year. He's got to change. He's got to play defense.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Do you like this approach from JJ Redick, which is basically saying the team has to get in championship shape? That's not for Gabe Vincent. That is for Luka Doncic, and we all know it. Now, as for team building, I'm glad you brought that up. Here is General Manager Rob Pelinka. Manny, can I hear cut 12? Rob Pelinka on the Lakers building a roster that's up to LeBron James's expectation.
He's a completely selfless leader, and I think we saw that in this playoff series, moving to playing more off the ball and committing to the defensive end. And I think it's just a testament to his championship DNA and character. And I think LeBron's going to have high expectations for the roster, and we're going to do everything we can to meet those. But I also know that whatever it is, he's going to still give his 100% every night.
Okay. LeBron's influence over the roster is my question. Yeah, he's going to have expectations. Sure, it's LeBron. But how much influence will he have, right? LeBron has done power plays in the past that have been sometimes just outright blatant. I mean, getting Anthony Davis to the Lakers 2 years before he hit free agency was almost unprecedented at the time. The Russell Westbrook thing, not all of them have been winners, but there's still a big question, obviously, getting Bronny drafted. But we still haven't gotten a definitive answer about whether or not LeBron knew about the Luka trade like beforehand, Pearl. Did he have a hand in it? Did he understand it? Or did the Lakers do that behind his back too? How much influence do you think LeBron has over the current Lakers roster and what they do this offseason?
No, I think he has influence in the sense that he says, I'm going to be here for 1-2 years, give up your future draft picks, right? So he's going to influence it, clear all the bullets out of the gun.
Right.
I want to trade Austin Reeves for a big man, just like, let's go. Let's get rid of all the young players and all the draft picks and bring in stars. Obviously, you love Giannis. But if you're not going to get Giannis because that's impossible, then start going down a rung or two. I don't care about the future, what this team looks like in 5 years. Bring it all in now. And I do think LeBron is going to demand that.
Okay, but you have the Lakers who just made this blockbuster trade for Luka that's about, yes, now, but also about the future. So can you really afford to Wild West this thing and just go 6-shooter and F them picks and all of that stuff?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
What if it's a young player like Jaren Jackson, who Memphis, who's been rumored too? He's 25 or something. Like they got him for 10 years, just like Luka. Then I think it is going to be.
Well, that's more disciplined, I think, to trade for someone like Jared Jackson. You're talking about empty the clip for Giannis, which is not going to happen. It'd be too difficult to do that trade. But that's like you'd have to mortgage not just the future, like the future's future. I don't know.
Well, I think they have 4. You guys they have 4 first round picks they can trade. They're allowed to trade, or 5.
Yeah, we're extending out now to like 30,
yeah, I'm
20, 38.
Yeah, but I think you have to give all 5 for Jaren Jackson. So, and I think teams would be nervous. I literally think you have to give all 5. And LeBron is going to ask them to do that, where I think a normal GM would not want to do that. In a normal situation, you wouldn't want to do that. But I think he's going to say, listen, bring him in now. I know you won't have a driver. But that means that's the last move you can make. You're done. This is it for the next 10 years.
So, Pearl, if you're convinced that LeBron's going to play for like another season, right?
I think
he'll definitely play next year. I mean,
yeah, no. I think he's coming back. Your question is another season or 2 more seasons, or?
Well, let's listen to Shams Charania, shall we? He was on the Pat McAfee show, yesterday.
Why?
Hypothesizing whether LeBron could be in this for even the longer haul.
My dog.
Bryce James, his son, does that factor play into it at all? His son is going to be potentially draft eligible in 2026 next year. So if he feels at some point next year Bryce James might be an NBA player, might be a draft eligible player, does he extend that window? I think that's the only potential caveat that you think of out there that could keep LeBron James even longer than at least one more year.
Wow. We're going to do this all over again with Bryce James now, which is equal parts like impressive, but also, I mean, the Bronny thing has been cool for LeBron, but that is, it's not been fruitful at all from a basketball standpoint.
Yeah.
He's going to do this again with Bryce?
You've already done the damage with Bronny. Might as well bring Bryce in, right?
Oh, my goodness.
People even notice Bryce?
Oh, this would be crazy.
It's like a second child. You know, the second child could get away with anything because the first child took all the blame.
Does anybody know if Bryce is even better than Bronny?
He's definitely not.
He's worse, right? Ratings worse.
Is he worse? He's going to the University of Arizona, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's not.
He's ranked lower than Bronny.
It doesn't matter. Better, worse. I mean,
But he's a
does
bit
he have 2
taller,
legs,
though.
like in 2 arms?
Yeah.
That's it.
He's 6'7", isn't he?
Yeah, he's way taller than Bronny, for sure.
Yes.
It doesn't. He could be 5'7". It's not about that. This is like
right. I know.
Bronny was not an NBA player. I don't know if Bryce is going to be. Like the fact that LeBron would do this power play a second time. Like, what's the daughter's name? Zahara. Like
Zuri, yeah.
What do we get her like a spot in the Sparks? Like I
like that.
Yeah, so do I. With Cameron Brink.
That being
That'd be
said,
kinda
yeah. I think
you guys are the problem.
I think we all got so upset about Bronny. I don't think there's going to be energy there to get mad about Bryce.
We're all worn out.
Yeah, like who cares?
The takes have been had.
Oh, the Laker fans
they'll lose it.
Yeah, I think you're underestimating how. I mean, again, Ray said he wants to fight JJ Redick out there. Like they are a crazy group.
But
Some of them don't even
interesting you say
accept. Some of them don't even accept LeBron still.
That's a fact.
He had a caller yesterday who said he'd never want him because he was a carpetbagger. Remember that?
Yeah, which he is, by the way, which I'm interested in. Like, you think this is going to be in L.A.? That's interesting.
Oh.
LeBron is as I say, a sports dad. He watches NBA TV. He saw that Knicks-Pistons series. He is saying, get me to the East. I guarantee bring the whole family out to...
Back to Cleveland?
And will Cleveland be the number one choice? Like, I think he's got to get this whole party out of the West. Because, unfortunately, that's what's happening. I mean, look at the monsters out there. They're all young. They're all getting better. LeBron wants to win another title. So that's the bottom line, too. The Lakers, that's why I started. They're in a desperate spot, Maggie. You got to try radical moves. You got to call out Luka publicly. You got to bring in Bryce James. You got to do anything you can. You got to do anything.
What?
You need the cavalry here. You can't just run this team back.
No. They're not going to run the team back. They've already said that they're not going to run the team back. But
they had to change their philosophy, too. They're just trying to win around the margins with guys like Jared Vanderbilt and Dorian Finney-Smith. And even Austin Reeves to some extent. They can't keep winning. They can't add around the margins. It's time to really think differently.
But counterpoint, though, the last time they did that, they brought in Russell Westbrook.
And that was at LeBron's behest.
Right. And it couldn't have been a worse disaster.
But he was a mid-level, wasn't he?
No, they traded for him.
They traded for him.
Yeah, but he was sort of like around the mid-level exception kind of contracted. Or was he?
He was still averaging a triple-double in Washington.
I mean, but come on. He was... I'm saying like
a radical. That was a radical move. Like,
wasn't it?
And it was thought to be a finishing piece.
Yeah, exactly.
With Anthony Davis, LeBron,
they traded guys who won championships with them.
Who had just won.
Yeah.
KCP
wasn't it like a KCP versus Russell Westbrook? It wasn't like Russ. It wasn't like they got Giannis.
Kuzma got traded in that too.
I think it was DeMar DeRozan versus.
DeMar DeRozan, right.
Who's a much better player than Russell Westbrook was at that time.
And that was LeBron's mistake. I mean, you read the stories about that. All the meetings were going down at LeBron's house. Not even at the Lakers facility.
But they need a much, much, much bigger move than Russell Westbrook.
I don't know if it's possible. I guess that's the question, right?
I think it is.
Like Giannis,
I mean, Jaren Jackson.
This guy is a defensive player of the year. Like how are you getting Jaren Jackson?
They're the Lakers. Maggie says the Lakers can't have anybody.
And you're right.
Including Bryce James.
And I feel stupid even asking the question. I'm being real, but like. Jaren Jackson's a very good player. This guy's a multiple-time All-Star, defensive player of the year. That's not a guy you could just,
snap your fingers.
Give a ham sandwich and you get him in a Laker uniform, you would think.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. If you want to weigh in on JJ Redick basically calling out Luka Doncic and saying we need to get in championship shape, or how much influence will LeBron have over the roster?
Counterpoint, by the way.
Yeah.
You say Jaren Jackson is a Lakers sounds crazy. Like, how are they going to do that? Luka Doncic is on the Lakers right now.
And it was an all-time boneheaded trade by Dallas.
These magical players just appear on the team. It just happens. It's the one thing we know about NBA history.
Coming up, you're welcome to weigh in. And also, we're going to do something a little different on this Friday because it's been such a big week. So many things. Basically, so many people have won and lost this week. Like lots of stocks ups, lots of stocks down. We're going to do a unconventional Friday M&P 500 just to keep score on who is up and who is down after an eventful week. Stay with us.
Hey, LeBron, we're pulling for your groin.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. Normally we do this on Mondays, stock up, stock down in the sports world, but there's so many wild swings this week. Much like the actual stock market, there's a lot of turbulence. I think we have to measure where we are on Friday. Why don't you get us started, Maggie? Stock up.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go stock up here. The Miss Maine competition, which is happening in a couple weeks, where Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, and right-hand lady, is going to be competing, Pearl, to then go to the Miss USA pageant. She's got to win this thing, right? I mean, look at all the attention she's getting. This is not just a sports story. I went to get my hair done yesterday, hairdresser, and all the ladies were talking about it in there. Belichick and this relationship, and they don't know what I do for a living. They were just talking about it on their own. It's crossed over.
When you say not just a sports story, is it actually a sports story in the first place? You just talked about the Miss Maine competition.
I'm saying stock up makes Miss Maine competition.
Are you saying that the judges of the Miss Maine competition are going to go for hype? I mean, how's she going to perform, Maggie?
I don't even know what her talent is.
How's her talent?
Well, we
how's
can
her
all
speech?
guess. Oh. Anyway, the Miss Maine competition. I was going to say being organized, but I don't know how you do that in a pageant.
We're not going to talk about that.
Miss Maine competition, which I didn't even know there was such a thing. Suddenly the stock up, so I hope those people are getting it together. A lot of eyeballs.
I'll go stock up. Guy who has not had a lot of stock ups, but now it is his time. Nico Harrison had the best week of any single person in the NBA. To see LeBron, to see Luka go out in 5 games, and then have his coach call out his fitness. Oh my God, this could not have worked out better for the Dallas Mavericks embattled general manager. He can now at least make an argument that he was right to give up on Luka Doncic, because I think 2 weeks ago when the Lakers were playing great, he was at the bottom of the rung in the NBA. Now, at least he has a case. I still think he's probably considered the architect of the worst trade in NBA history, but it's a little better.
Yeah, I mean, didn't get nearly enough for Luka, though. That will never change.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know if you can ever really say his stock's up.
Because it sounds like he kept the trade top secret. We were talking earlier in the show. He didn't even tell LeBron. He had to open it up so people could make offers for Luka. He should have gotten every draft pick in the world, and he doesn't have it.
My stock down, I got a couple stock downs. It was easier to find the stock downs this week than the stock up, to be honest. I'm going to go with Jeff Ulbrich. Tough week. Your son was caught on camera as part of a prank call situation to Shedeur Sanders. You had to call the Sanderses and apologize, publicly have a press conference. You didn't even do it. It's your bonehead kid who did it, who's acting like a bonehead. I have no idea if the kid's actually whatever. And you got fined $100,000 on top of it. And I know he makes like $1.5 million, but that's going to hurt.
It's a crazy fine. I mean, it's a huge fine.
And now everyone knows your kid for probably not the maybe good things he's ever done, but they know him as this clown. And it's like the laughing stock and all of that stuff. It's got to be terrible. We're parents. This has got to, and you got to hurt for your kid because now they've been publicly out there. And then on the Sanderses were nice to not make it a bigger thing. Because they could have really blown that out if they said this is unacceptable. And if they didn't take the high road, it could have gotten even worse.
Yeah, it's funny. I think actually, in a weird way, Jeff Ulbrich spin this in a positive, made the best of it. I think at the end of the day, Deion's a pro. And I think he turned to Deion and said, I'm so sorry, this is my son. I'll bet you Deion related. I'll bet you maybe they could form a relationship here. Like maybe you could take this low moment and turn it to a positive. And I think he did the best he could with that. You don't think so? I think Jeff Ulbrich actually came out, BCK, at that press conference. People were like, okay, he stood up for the mistake. I think his reputation is actually better today than it was yesterday. You don't think people are like feeling the way he apologized to Deion? I think Deion appreciated it.
Maybe, but he's the new guy in the building. He just got fired from the Jets. And then this is the way you kind of like, this is your first big public thing that happens with the Atlanta Falcons is your dumb kid, or your kid made a dumb move.
Yeah, no, my point was when it first happened, his stock couldn't have been lower. I think he increased his stock by the way he handled it. I think he handled it as well as you possibly could. And also, too, they haven't had a pass rusher in about 40 years in Atlanta. So that's a much bigger problem for Jeff Ulbrich. Because if they go 10-7, then you know what I say, all is forgiven. Give me the NFC South title. I got to, another stock down?
No, go ahead.
My stock down is Mike Trout. So here's the report. Mike Trout went on the 10-day injured list for left knee soreness. The team, the manager, Ron Washington, says, it's only a bone bruise in Trout's left knee. Come on.
Does he even have a left knee?
I mean,
at this point?
Anyone trying to minimize a Mike Trout injury to us is just too much damage. We're not going to buy it. Mike Trout, even if they say it's just a bone bruise, I don't expect to see him until the year 2027. No, I'm just so nervous about this guy. He's actually hitting a lot of home runs. He's hitting terribly, but he's hitting a lot of home runs, and it just seems he cannot get out of the way of the injuries. It's really depressing as a baseball fan.
Well, and ipso facto, if Mike Trout's stock is down, then Manny Rodriguez also takes a hit here because he has Mike Trout in our show Home Run Derby.
I hate this sport.
Do you want to see something funny? But I did not know this about Trout. I was doing deep dive. He's hitting 179 this year. Is that weird?
Well, he's got a hurt knee.
With 9 home runs. He was tied for the league lead in home runs.
Sounds like
That's
a Yankee.
Not like Mike Trout.
Low batting average, bunch of home runs.
Yeah, he will be a Yankee.
Sounds like Joe Gallo.
Yeah, I know. Mike Trout's like a 300 career hitter. Anyway, we will not see him for at least 10 days, but I fear it's more.
I got another stock down for you. And you'd think Shedeur Sanders' stock would be down, right? And it is. But I actually think Andrew Berry, the general manager, his stock is worse. Because I do think there's a contingent of people now who are rooting for Shedeur to turn this around and prove people wrong and still holding out hope that he could actually be a good quarterback. Andrew Berry, I think, stock is down because this makes no sense still. We think that the owner stepped in to make the pick. We were told by Mary Kay Cabot, who covers the Browns, that is absolutely not true, that this was an Andrew Berry pick. And I think that he made a huge mistake here inviting this type of circus into the Browns facility into a very, very crucial year for him. They botched the Deshaun Watson thing so badly, and the owner may have stepped in to offer unprecedented money, but Berry's the one who traded all those picks. And
well, I mean, you weren't getting him without those picks, but yeah.
No, yeah, but I'm saying like they jeopardized, a lot with the organization with that, and they pulled off I think a good move trading with Jacksonville. But I think Andrew Berry's stock is down because it looks like not a panic move. That's not it. It looks like a inexplicable move to bring in Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, then Shedeur in the 5th.
Well, the only thing I would say, we're talking as stock as an analogy, he was already a penny stock because him and Stefanski won 3 games last year. He didn't have that much farther to go down. That's a guy I don't think, based on the results of the Browns and the fact that they don't have a quarterback, I mean, is there any chance that they're not going to be tanking for next year? So I'm not sure the
So
stock
why bring Shedeur in? Like, none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
Nothing to lose. I don't know.
I think somebody was doing the Sanders a favor, right? That's the thinking. It could have been him, by the way. We don't know.
What's he getting back?
Well, maybe
signed jersey from Dion?
No. Why does anybody do a favor for anybody? A relationship somewhere? There's a guy, the Browns quarterback coach, played with Dion. I think Dion has a lot of friends in the NFL. I'm surprised. We thought the Raiders or the Cowboys were going to step up. Maybe Andrew Berry thinks he has a trade asset here. Hey, maybe he got a great draft bargain. If we consider that Shedeur is going to play there and be good.
I don't think that's possible. Shedeur may be good. It's not going to happen in Cleveland.
I mean, it's an option. It's at least a 1% chance. Will you give me 1%?
All right, so that's your rare Friday stock up, stock down from the Maggie and Perloff show. Andrew Bogusch is here with the latest headlines.
Guys, this is movie trailer voice time from the executive producer of...
Yeah, finally!
Comes Double Bang, a basketball story.
Down to 12 seconds. Brunson holding. Nick's trying to wait.
Brunson, 3! Oh! Let's go! Let's go! Get the out of here, Detroit! Let's go! Let's go!
Not on a treadmill, but still, EJ, live, Knicks Pistons, end of Game 6 last night.
I'd be EJ, I know you're from the mean streets of New York City. I wouldn't say bleep Detroit. I don't have that kind of stones.
Get the out of here, Detroit!
Nope, not me.
The bus has already left Detroit on its way here.
Nope, Detroit is tough.
Let's go!
I'm sorry, Eminem. I'm sorry, Big Sean. Sorry,
Bad
Barry.
Boy Pistons.
Sorry, Barry Sanders. Sorry,
Yeah.
Dan Campbell.
But
Rick
Get
Mahorn.
the out of here, Detroit!
I'd be afraid Detroit would show up at my door.
Their slogan is Detroit versus everybody. 100 Detroits versus EJ. That ends very
You
quickly.
will be powder.
Yeah, that ends very quickly.
guys, I wasn't at the celebrity kickball game last summer, but did Asar Thompson last night look like EJ destroying his knee on the last Brunson 3?
Both looked painful in the moment.
Okay.
Let's go!
If you're asking when EJ hurt his knee at the Deion Dawkins celebrity kickball game, or Asar Thompson, who's still sliding off a court somewhere because Jalen Brunson crossed him up.
By the way, should they have sent help for Jalen? I was thinking on that play. EJ?
Oh, double him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they should have.
Because Schroeder wasn't covering anybody. He was just sort of standing, picking daisies.
Well, to Maggie's point, though, like he did a really good job a couple of possessions earlier. One-on-one.
Yeah.
Brunson had 40 points.
I'm aware.
Yeah, but no, was it the very previous possession? He cut him off twice and then knocked the ball away for a shot clock violation.
Yeah, but generally in that situation, he couldn't foul. You can't foul him. So Brunson had him in his will. We all knew. Yeah, that was a good shot, by the way. I thought I was like double team Jalen Brunson. Nobody shot the ball in 9 minutes. They're going to be cold as heck.
I mean, earlier in that fourth quarter, they were double teaming him on the inbound. There were 2 dudes on him on inbounds for a stretch, for a 3-4 minute stretch.
Yeah, they weren't letting him catch the ball.
It was very frustrating.
It felt like, oh my God, poor this. How old is Asar Thompson? Like
19.
And he got embarrassed by sliding
even younger than Manny.
Yeah.
Get the out of here, Detroit.
Brunson, it was a tie-breaking 3 with 4 seconds left last night. He had 40 total points to drag the Knicks through Game 6 in Detroit, 116-113. New York was up 15 in the second quarter, 12 early in the fourth, but then down 7 with 2.5 minutes to go, but they get the series-ending win. Unlike the Pistons, the Clippers are alive and well after a 111-105 home win in Game 6 with the Nuggets. So that series heading back to Denver, Game 7 tomorrow. James Harden, 28 points and 8 assists last night. Kawhi Leonard with 27 plus 10 boards and 5 assists. The Pacers will soon be back on the floor against the Cavs in round 2. The team has told Mr. Halliburton to stay away from his son's games for a while after his post-game confrontation with Giannis this week.
Can we pause on that for a second?
Please.
So are we getting something definitive here? Are you banned for the rest of the postseason? Can you go to away games? Because I think we deserve to know, because this dude's actions were completely out of line.
Yeah, I mean, I read 2 different write-ups about this, and nobody said, and the NBA investigation continues. This is a Pacers decision that he has accepted, but it's completely indefinite. And I still think the league needs to say something official about this.
Well, it's just I think they're trying to placate the public.
Right.
And Giannis, because Giannis didn't like it, even though they eventually got to a good place. But, I mean, dude.
Snitches get stitches.
Stop, sir.
I think that,
respectfully.
I think they're trying
Sit
to
down.
thread a needle where they don't want to say he's banned, but he's banned.
Shadow ban?
Yeah, I think they're really because even the article was he will not attend home and road games. It almost makes it sound like it's his decision, which it obviously isn't. He would be there. He's there every game. Every time I watch Pacers, they always show him.
Way to go, Johnny.
And also, it's just, you got to do it. We're talking about sending messages, and why did the NFL, fine the Falcons so much for the prank call? It's like you're trying to send a message to other people. You got to send a message here, because the dad can't be on the court stepping to Giannis like that after they lose.
No, and even just the bigger picture, every NBA game I watch, I am still amazed by how close people are. That you got to coach these games next to a regular person. The NBA is begging for these things to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I often go at the Garden, and I tell you, I saw Stephon Marbury run out to the foul line on a penalty call. The guys get on the court all the time, every single play. It's not, the court's right there. I got on the court because my water fell, and I want to make sure that it didn't trip up Jalen Brunson. No, I mean, tell you, you're right. Who was with me? I can't remember when Josh Hart was talking to us about the call. I was sitting right there.
I was there.
What's that?
I was there.
Yeah, right. It's crazy how close they are.
It's scary. And to me, it's scary just because you guys are huge. And my thing is they run into a loose ball.
Full speed.
I'm dead.
I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to be that guy again. Are we maybe caught up in the moment about Tyrese Halliburton's dad? Was it such a crime against humanity to talk some trash to Giannis? I know.
He's not on the team.
You can't walk on the court.
I know, but come on.
He's still a fan, man.
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
If that was a regular fan, we'd be that guy should be banned for life.
Because here's the thing. What if Giannis pushed him or something, right? Because he was cursing at him. What if Giannis pushed him? And then now Giannis is getting fined.
Would have paid pay-per-view money to see that.
Giannis is 2 heads taller than him. But Giannis would have gotten in trouble. And that doesn't seem right either. And you know what would have happened.
Okay.
To be honest, what he did almost did start an altercation, because then Giannis went back to where he was and then went nose to nose with him. And John was very smart to then say the right words to make sure Giannis didn't
malice at the palace,
didn't RKO him, to Evansville. But that was serious. I don't know. That was very dangerous.
Malice in Indiana.
Very dangerous.
Going against the grain, standing up for
I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of soapboxes out this week about everything that's wrong. And I mean, are we just getting caught up a little bit too much?
Or is it just common sense?
We can't get upset at LeBron for pulling up on Stephen A. and then say that this is okay. We can't. You can't.
Well,
you cannot have
I
that
was
both
offending
ways.
a fellow journalist.
And future
Slash presidential
politician. I know. That was
Slash
the name.
actor. Slash everything.
Oh my God, the actor thing. We
That
talked
was
about that
this
yesterday.
week. I led you astray. Stephen A. actually shot somebody on General Hospital this week.
Shot somebody. It was a crooked nurse.
Yeah,
What's he supposed to do?
He saved a patient's life. So I don't know.
Wait, did we talk about this on the air or off
No,
the air?
that's off air.
Okay.
Off air, yeah.
I posed this to the group. Is the coolest thing you can do on camera, like if you're an actor, is to like shoot somebody with a silencer on the
Definitely.
gun. Like plug in the
100%.
silencer and then but Stephen A.
Yep.
didn't put the silencer on. He already had attached his character. Clearly was thinking ahead to get this crooked nurse.
You don't want to make an enemy out of me.
I can't believe all these sentences are real.
Yeah.
No, you're right, Maggie. A silencer is the number one coolest thing you can do.
It's like you write that into any script, you're just like, thank you for the gold.
I will argue for one other thing.
What's that?
And it's for men or women. If you have a kissing or a sex scene with a fox or like a Adonis, like if that gets written into your story, you're like, oh yeah.
I'd rather have the silencer. I hear it. But that's good. I'd go with the silencer because
I think you're right.
Yeah, James
Wow.
Bond kissed many women, but that was cool. But the silencer was better.
Stay off the weed.
Yeah, Raquel Welch coming out of the ocean was one thing, but when he takes out, Jaws or Goldeneye, whatever.
Did you see how smooth
Dr.
Stephen
No.
A. looked when he pulled that gun out?
So the only thing that was missing is he didn't have a cool final word, like make my day or something like that Clint Eastwood had. But
They
he
did
just
go-
took out the silencer.
They went to a close up of the gun.
I don't like him.
That's not what stay off the weed comes from?
No, it wasn't written into the script of General Hospital.
I sincerely hope he whipped his kid's ass.
How many times do you think General Hospitals had to go back to the crooked nurse? The nurse was trying to kill the patient in the bed.
Oh my God!
That's like gotta be once a month.
million times.
No, Pearl's an actor, but for you guys, what show would you guys want to guest appear on? If you could pick one show.
I mean, Perloff's got some. The Sandler movies are.
I was an extra in
amazing.
Billions once too.
That's cool. That's why.
Yeah,
that's why I
but
said
it
TV
was
show. I
a
know you do
painful
movies.
experience. It was 9 hours of sitting around, and you have to really slow down the DVR to see me.
But Stephen A. is not an extra. He's a
No.
recurring character.
Yeah, it was
on
a question
General
to be
Hospital.
like an extra or actually have a role.
Yeah, or like he comes up every couple of years on the show. Like if you could have that on one show.
I know what it is for Maggie.
Yeah, because I have a favorite show,
I
a
got
very
one.
obvious favorite show.
White Lotus?
Oh no, that'd be cool.
That's what I thought.
Oh no, I was a very big Seinfeld fan, and I feel like for Seinfeld, a lot of the ancillary characters kind of get remembered forever.
Oh no, I thought you meant a current show.
That's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
but you could take it old school too.
Well, I mean, Bogusch and Manny would be friends.
I would be Rachel Green's love interest. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, you're taking the sex scene, is what you're saying.
I also have a very
Well, like there was a question there.
I got a very specific one for us. Like I think it's very very cool to be like the guy's voice on the radio in a movie, or like to be the like play-by-play guy in a sports movie.
I'd rather be Jennifer Aniston's guy.
Oh, you mean like with Bob Euchre in Major League? That
Yeah,
kind
and
of-
like Scott Farrell, our old colleague, was the voice of like on the radio of a movie with like
Just a
Patton
bit
Oswalt,
outside.
who was
Yeah,
like a
big
crazy
fan.
fan. Like
Yeah,
that's cool.
Scott Farrell
Yeah.
was the nighttime host, and Patton Oswalt's like obsessed with him, and then goes crazy.
We have a million friends who've been sports reporters in movies, like our old friend
Yeah.
Don Banks. Peter King's been in 4, I think.
But it would be cool to be like calling Rocky versus Drago, and
Yeah.
you're the fake announcer. On
No,
the
I
side.
see. I think it's cooler to do what Stephen A. did, and you're doing something totally different.
Shoot somebody with a silencer a silencer gun, as opposed to being a broadcaster.
Yeah, not being a sports journalist to be something completely different.
What if you shot LeBron with a silencer over the
Jeez,
Bronny beef?
Bogusch.
Yeah. By the way, like
Sensitive times.
that clip has just changed the tide of that whole LeBron. Now Stephen A. is a bigger badass than LeBron. Dude's got a silencer and that cool coat. And was he wearing a turtleneck underneath it? I am wildly impressed. I'm voting for him. Are you guys not in? Yeah.
I said nothing offensive about him.
It's not a good thing when your potential opponent says, "Yeah, I think they should run." That means I think I could slaughter that guy in election, which is what Trump said.
Oh, that how you read that? Interesting.
Yes. If you think so, the person can beat you. You don't say, "Yeah, good idea, jump in the race." Silencer. 888-710-4ISN. Okay, we got to take a quick break. Thank you, Bogusch. Coming up, rivalries back on in the NFL. We'll tell you why.
Get the out of here, Detroit.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. One thing we often disagree with around here is how much do rivalries still exist, especially in pro sports? Because I'm somebody who thinks they do. And Perloff, you think they've been watered down by free agency and guys are all kind of friends behind the scenes?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get to Packers head coach Matt LaFleur. Okay, Matt LaFleur was on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast, and he was asked by Tara Luan and Will Blackman about Ben Johnson, the new head coach of the Detroit Lions, when he, at his press conference, just kind of unnecessarily took a shot at Matt LaFleur and the Packers, saying, I've really enjoyed beating them twice a year the last few years. And so we kind of thought at the time, they must have a relationship or something. Matt LaFleur and Ben Johnson must secretly be pals behind the scene, and this is some big wink, wink, like, haha, I'm talking trash about you in the media. Well, it turns out that's not true. Matt LaFleur said he doesn't even know Ben Johnson.
I don't know Ben Johnson.
So do you have beef?
Do I have beef? I don't know Ben Johnson. I respect him as a football coach. He did a nice job.
More. Matt LaFleur said he was surprised that Ben Johnson took an unprovoked shot at him in the press conference.
But if you don't know him, why is it tight in here?
It's not tight. I'm not tight. I thought it was interesting.
What was interesting?
I thought the press conference was interesting, but I don't have beef with him.
I mean, this guy's a terrible liar. More from LaFleur said he won't get into a back and forth with Ben Johnson, especially not when they play the Lions the first time.
Get the out of here, Detroit!
Hey, hold on, that's EJ.
All into that stuff. I thought it was.
But you'll harness it.
He'll see the eye emojis after a win. You'll send.
I don't have his number, so that won't happen.
You gonna Jim Harbaugh him after a game?
No,
you beat him?
I would never do that.
Do you have the strength to do that?
I don't know. Probably not. Apparently not.
Very funny. Do you have the strength? Remember Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll used to go at it, in their post-game handshakes and
Jim
stuff.
Schwartz, too.
Jim Schwartz, definitely. We got into a few different people, and Jim Harbaugh. So this is a beef, Pearl. I mean, you can hear Matt LaFleur was not very good at hiding it.
Well, I mean, listen, this Bears-Packers thing is awesome. Clay Matthews started off the draft by taking a massive shot. Not even a shot, a machine gun to that rivalry. And my favorite is our friend Big Cat, a part of my take, always puts on Twitter that Aaron Rodgers should be arrested when he was the Packers quarterback. Like, this is a rivalry. Chicago, I love it. And I love Ben Johnson. I don't care if he has a personal beef with them, like trying to stoke this. This is really kind of cool.
It's just so flipped on its head because I would have bet $1 million that they knew each other and
friends.
that this was like a friendly jab. It's not.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you, who does Ben Johnson think he is? I mean,
well, Ben Johnson apparently,
and I said Lions coach. Obviously, I meant the Bears head coach. He was the former Lions offensive coordinator, but he's coming into the Bears team. The Bears have been made it an art form to lose to the Packers. I mean, you can't come in here calling your shot. I know you got Caleb Williams and you've got a good roster.
Oh, you have to call your shot. You absolutely have to come in with this, we're going to kill you attitude. Don't you?
To take the unnecessary shot, it's just like you could get into this rivalry a little bit. You can, get some skin, a little more skin in the game as a head coach, as opposed to, the Lions, you can talk big and bad because you were the best team in the NFC last year.
Every report and every former player of Ben Johnson has said he's a total psycho, and in the best way possible. The fact that he was on a staff with Dan Campbell and he's a psycho, this is what Chicago needs. I feel like, like I keep repeating the same themes. These are desperate times, Maggie. You got to come out and you got to talk trash. You got to get in the heads of those Packers. Why not throw the first punch?
Well, it reminds me very much of Rex Ryan when he got the New York Jets job, said, I'm not here to kiss Belichick's rings.
And it kind of worked.
And it did work a little because they did win a playoff game in Foxborough. Bill Belichick never forgot that and authored some of the biggest ass whoopings that the Jets ever received. So it worked out for a little bit.
Matt LaFleur.
And then you hold receipts, and then it turns out to be embarrassing. And who lasted another decade at their job? And Rex Ryan was unceremoniously booted from him.
Yeah, a little different. Matt LaFleur is not Bill Belichick.
That's true.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
We get back to solving all the Lakers problems in just a moment. This is the Maggie and Perloff Show. Got to talk college football, though, Pearl, because this headline caught our attention. And it was the University of Texas, the Longhorns, reportedly are going to have a budget this year between $35 and $40 million to spend on the football team. Now, dive a little bit deeper into the details. It's obviously contingent on the
revenue share.
Revenue share. This is the bill that's now, or it's in court, actually. We're waiting for a judge, Claudia Wilkins, to rule on whether or not, every athletic department in Power 4 is going to get $20 million at their discretion, but that's for the whole athletic department. We know a lot will get spent on football, but it's for everybody in theory.
Right, but 18 out of 20 will go to football?
I'm sure. But
which is an issue for basketball because some's got to go to basketball too. But anyway.
Right, but you can also, I don't want to say fundraise, you can have a collective on top of that. So you can still give NIL.
I believe collectives are banned in the new world.
Oh, well, they might, but you can still have NIL money, yes? There's no way they're taking that away.
It's tricky, but my understanding is since collectives are about to get banned in the new world, that all the collectives are emptying all their money, and that's how Texas got up to $40 million.
Okay, well,
so they're spending now before the collective goes away. So on top of again, this is all fluid. On top of the revenue sharing, you have to have an actual marketing deal that an independent board will determine is at fair value. So you can't have a collective anymore.
Wow. So those are not the rules now. That could be the rules in the future.
No, that's why Texas is spending all this money right now because they're not going to be allowed to spend in the future. And I've read that a couple places. Like they have all this money. They're like, we got to spend it on this year's team.
So it's a big number. I mean, as opposed to what Texas brings in, I understand if we did, an NFL salary cap for a team is $270 million.
Justin Jefferson's getting $35 million. That's why it was like, it is a big number in college football.
In college football. And we become really desensitized to some of these numbers. We throw them around like, hey, is Brock Purdy going to make $50 million or 55? Like, it's a big freaking deal. The money is like monopoly money at this point. It's just abstract. But here's the deal about Texas.
Yeah.
This headline comes out, and it's like, okay, Ohio State spent $20 million last year and won the national championship. So now you get a headline that Texas is going to have between $35 and $40 million. They already, I think, come into the year with probably the biggest expectations because Arch Manning finally getting the starting spot and Steve Sarkisian, who's been knocking on the door. And it feels like it can go two ways with Sark. He can either become the next, Nick Saban or something, or the next James Franklin, or Lane Kiffin, or, a guy who's known for being more famous than winning. It's even more pressure-packed at Texas because obviously it's been so long since they've won. You are in the hotbed of high school recruiting, and Texas and football go hand in hand.
Huge brand.
It's massive. They're besides Alabama, Notre Dame, Michigan, like Ohio State, there may not be anything bigger. And I just can't. It just feels like for Texas, this is just such a championship or bust season. And I know Arch may come back.
Yeah.
But with the $40 million that they have to spend now, I think it ratchets up the pressure on Texas to a degree that we haven't seen. I can't remember when. I really can't, because I can't remember a combination of this highly famous and touted of a quarterback trying to win at a place that hadn't won in such a long time.
Yeah, only a little counter argument is last year with Ohio State, it was, remember we came in the season like Ohio State's going to win. How can they not win the championship? They had all their seniors came back, which is not the case for Texas. Texas just had, how many first round and second round picks were they? They just lost 5 big stars to the draft, where Ohio State last year, they paid to bring back Jack Sawyer, JTT, Emeka Egbuka. Those guys all could have gone pro, and they all came back. Texas got decimated by the draft a little bit. So
that's what the money's for.
Right, but they're not like Ohio State last year, where they're probably, I don't think they're going to be number one next year. It's a little different. I think Ohio State will probably be number one.
Okay, that's fine, but there was not, maybe in Columbus there was the pressure on Ohio State.
No, remember we did that before the season? It was like, how is this Ohio State team not going to win the title? Texas is not quite there to me.
Oh, I think it's double. It's double the amount of pressure. But here's the thing. Who do you think the fans are going to point to? Who's the most famous person in college football right now?
All right, you're right. The Arch factor. But last year, Ryan Day's job was on the line. I don't think Sark is there.
We were led to believe that by, Kirk Herbstreit called that fringe elements of the fan base.
There was I think there was a ton of pressure on Ohio State last year because they brought back a quasi dream team. Texas is not quite there. I think they're close. Trust me. I'm not saying that this conversation isn't right, but if they don't win the title, is it really title or bust for them? I can't go that far.
Without a doubt. I can't even believe it's a question. EJ, you put it on the poll. Is it title or bust for Texas? I mean, first of all, you also have the 12-team playoff, which gives you this buffer. Like if you're Texas, you are going to make the playoff unless something wildly goes wrong. So it's not even like years past where you had to be one of the top 4 teams and like the first hurdle was just making the playoff. And then you got to see what happens there. That hurdle for teams like Texas or like Ohio State, that hurdle doesn't exist as much anymore. Oregon, like you're expected now to make the 12-team playoff. But it's waited for you to make it.
Right. And in this area, they're probably going to make the 12-team playoff. And if, they weren't even that close with a very similar team last year. I know they made the Final Four, but they didn't feel
thrilling
like,
game.
It didn't feel
Too
like they were right on the brink of a title. I don't know that they're this powerhouse a year where it's title or bust. Let's say, for example, they make the 12 team and anything can happen in a tournament. They lose in the final game. Like, is that going to be a massively disappointing season? They're not even the number one. They're not the favorite team. I don't think it's, and maybe because I'm a big fan of Sark. Like, I feel like if he got to the title game, that would be an achievement. I don't think it's like, oh my God, they have to win this whole thing or fire Sark.
No. That's not how this whole thing works, Pearl. You don't get credit when you're this high up in the sport and you have this kind of budget. You don't get credit for near misses.
Well, yeah, but you got Georgia and you got Ohio State. I don't think like college football right now is like that, where you could be like, you have this one team, Texas has to win it all. Because
ask Ryan Day. You just said he was on the hot seat. He was getting as close as possible.
Ryan Day had 16 pro players on his roster, and we knew all of them because they were all there the year before. I just think it's I had a new quarterback, but I think it's a little different. Last year was crazy with Ohio State. This year, I think Texas, and again, I'm trying to help Sark here. I think they have a little room to play with. I think we disagree on this.
Yeah, I mean, Sark can be out on his own. I mean, he's in charge of the big program. He doesn't need your help.
We've never even seen Arch play.
Well, but that's not true. I mean, we have seen him come in. We know that he's got the physical tools. And to be honest, like, he's been able and had the luxury of being able to sit and watch and develop. That is something that's not often afforded to college quarterbacks. So sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. This day and age, guys transfer 100 times before they get a starting job. But no, it's beyond pressure. 888-710-4ISN. And here's the thing. Like, ask James Franklin if people are just happy to be in the mix. Ask Ryan Day before this year if people are just happy to get to a Final Four. It's not like that at this level of college football.
So, all right, let's play this forward. Say the Texas Longhorns get to the title game and lose to Ohio State.
Sure.
Are you going to say, wow, that was a massive disappointment?
Sark can't win the big one.
True, but no. Back to the thing. Is it a massive disappointment?
Well, I mean, you're getting into the title game.
They lost to Ohio State. Yeah, they got the title game. But you're painting them a picture like if Sark doesn't win the national title, this is a massive disappointment.
I think he's going to come under the same questions that Ryan Day did before this year, that James Franklin does every year, that Dan Lanning will eventually come under, that Kalen DeBoer will eventually come under, Marcus Freeman. Yes.
He's in the mix with those guys just because of this $40 million budget. I don't think he gets to the point where, like, you better return on that investment. I think we really disagree on this. I think the degree of pressure on Sark is a little bit less than you do. I think you think, man, you have $40 million and you have Arch Manning.
Yep.
And also the other thing, too, if Arch Manning's name was Arch Smith, then nobody would view this team the same way.
His name's not. And
but this is a public perception thing. I think the reality is when they see the level of players of Texas and Georgia and Ohio State, I think they're going to be like, well, these teams are very close, even with that last name.
So the thing is about Arch, it's not just that you landed Arch when most people probably thought he would have gone to either LSU or Tennessee or Ole Miss, the connections with the family or with his hometown. You got a bump for that.
Right, of course.
There was an Arch bump where other recruits came because of him. So it's not just that you landed him. You got the glow off of him. If you don't win with him, with this glow, with the money, it's a disappointment. Okay, maybe if they go to the championship game, they lose in double overtime, obviously, like the way the game is played. But if they have the same season that they've had the last 2 years where they're making it to the Final Four but not able to win, I think you start getting those same questions. No doubt.
You're definitely going to have those questions. I mean, you're going to have Ryan Day, James Franklin.
Yep.
I think he's way ahead of James Franklin. James Franklin isn't even really that close to winning the big one. I know this year they did well, but generally.
Right there.
I mean, James Franklin's record against top 10 teams is abysmal.
I understand. I don't see them as that different. Penn State pedigree program. Yeah, you're not in the heart of Texas, but you're in the heart of Pennsylvania, which is also
I think
blue blood area in terms of recruiting. The pressure is super high.
Yeah, the expectation for Texas is way bigger. I mean, Penn State does.
Then you're playing into
Penn
my
State
theory.
does well in recruiting, but Texas is, again, regardless. So
you're making my point for me then.
But
because
I think
I'm saying he
But you
would have all
started
this
this out by
pressure.
saying Ohio State spent $20 million last year.
Yeah.
And they won the title. You're saying Texas is going to spend $35 to $40 million this year. That means they better win the title. I think that's too high of an expectation.
I disagree. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I think the expectations are right where they need to be, which is national title.
By the way, they're still the best player in college football is definitely in Columbus. Jeremiah Smith is a singular force in this sport right now. It's crazy that dude's still going to be there.
Who won that quarterback battle at Ohio State?
No, they have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter. I could throw to Jeremiah Smith. It's like having prime Randy Moss.
Well, to be honest, though, they had him last year. He was amazing. They had this dream team, and it did end up mattering because if the college football playoff hadn't been expanded to 12 teams, Ohio State never would have had a shot at that redemption tour.
Yeah, it's true.
They lost to Michigan, and it was just like the sky was falling. So
yeah, no, they were disappointed last year. But by the way, they also have the defensive Jeremiah Smith. They have Caleb Downs coming back too. They could have the 1 and 2 pick. I guess Caleb Downs as safety might not go that, but he's going to be a Heisman candidate. They're super stacked, and Georgia has pros everywhere. I just think that last year's Ohio State team was unique because they had such a returning force. You got to remember, Texas lost their best players. They lost a left tackle who went number 9 overall. Matthew Golden was the entire offense last year. They lost Jahdae Barron.
Yes, Perloff. And if they had no money to re-up, then I'd say, okay, well then let's temper the expectations. But the headline of why we're even talking about Texas in the middle of April, I'm sorry, it's May, in the beginning of May, is because they've got $40 million to play with.
But you make it sound like it's so easy to just buy these teams, and we know that it's had mixed results. It's had mixed results at best. That you could use as free. Listen, give me a second here. I'm still trying to adjust to free agency in college football, Mag. I mean, you're like, they're just going to spend the money and fill out the roster. This isn't the NFL salary cap. I think there is a little bit more unknown here than what you're saying. The Manning name has a big part of this. You're right. This expectation has a lot to do with who Arch Manning is, but probably the most famous high school player of our generation. Like we've known Arch Manning since he was in 8th grade.
Yeah, and I think he's gonna have a different outcome than Shador, but we've seen how celebrity kind of goes both ways.
Yeah, well, Arch Manning was. Shador went to Jackson State. He was a 3-star recruit. Like Arch Manning's been ridiculous forever. It's the Manning name. So we'll see. Come fall, I really want to revisit this conversation. I think it's going to be one of the big themes throughout this season.
It's good. The hype's going to be even bigger the closer we get to the season. 888-710-4ISN. They got to hope Belichick keeps and his girlfriend keep doing these outrageous, crazy things because it's taken the attention away from talking about all the pressure that Texas is under this year. Am I crazy, EJ? I think I'm in the right on this one.
No, I think I was about to call him Ryan Day. I think Sark it's like pressure that maybe not, okay, you're going to get fired, but I think he's facing a major fraud alert. But
you guys have never liked Sark. I got to be honest, both of you have been anti-Sark.
Why would we like Sark?
Because he's an offensive genius. His wide receivers get wide open.
Head coach. Why would we like him as a head coach?
He's taken a Texas team that was nowhere near, since Vince Young left, really hasn't been in the mix and gotten back to consistent excellence.
Yeah, and I think that we can respect that, but I think he's been given a lot of money. They've had great recruiting classes, and Texas is not Little Sisters of the Poor. This is one of the blue bloods of college football.
But he's developed them back to that elite status by recruiting.
And I think he's done a very good job. My point, though, is, again, if you're this offensive genius like you're saying, then why just score 14 points against Ohio State? And the Arizona State game was a slog where they got a big lead and they couldn't score. So
Quinn Ewers wasn't that good.
Yeah, but that's the guy he chose, right? And
hung with him.
Right. So I think with Sark, that's the question is, okay, you're this offensive genius. You have the talent that maybe you didn't have at Washington and USC. Like now you're at Texas.
I think
you got to win now.
He actually looked at his team and slowed the game down. He didn't want to get it too wide open because he just didn't think he could win that kind of game. I think.
Yeah, but that's that's kind of like anti-Sark, though, right? Like he's a high-powered offensive guy.
He didn't last year. I don't think he thought he had the team that he used to have in Alabama. Anyway, also too, like Sark is, I like him too. His personal story, like he's gone through a ton. He got embarrassed more than any college coach ever at USC by being drunk at that event.
Yeah,
and rebuilt his life. I find that part of him admirable. And I thought Ryan Day got way too much heat at Ohio State, too. He's very much like Ryan Day. Would you say that those two have the same trajectory?
No, Day answered the questions. Day's got the stay of execution.
Day before I'm saying day before he won the title.
I thought the vitriol towards Day got to a point where it was way more toxic than it seems like anything Sark's getting.
Because Sark beats Oklahoma.
But I just think like offensive genius who people think, oh, that guy can coordinate an offense. He can't coach a team to a title. I think there's a lot of similarities there. Kind of like there are a lot of guys like that, like Cliff Kingsbury and
I think
what's his name? Lincoln Riley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it got to a point with Ryan Day where it felt like it was, am I going to have to leave the city? I've never gotten the sense that Sark wouldn't be able to walk down the street in Austin without getting heckled. And listen, maybe the stuff in Columbus is overblown and it's not really like that, but like when you get boots on the ground. But I think it got to a point where he was getting death threats, that's for sure. So
I think Sark has an advantage too, where unlike Ryan Day, like Texas OU is like not even a program right now. Like they're really on the downs, right? So he's
the
not
rivalry game.
Yeah, so the rivalry game is not this live or die kind of matchup where like they should smoke Oklahoma every year. And I'm sorry for our Norman.
Oh, I don't know about. Yeah, but Oklahoma seems like they're a bit on the rise too.
They're trying to get back, right?
Like we got the Heisman,
we got
trophy
see,
winner. Yeah.
Well, John Mateer, and I like John Mateer might be an NFL guy. Like he's really good. But I'm just saying, like he was dealing with John Harbaugh, right? And Jim Harbaugh. I'm sorry. Jim Harbaugh was building this juggernaut at Michigan. We learned, right, and he couldn't get over that hump. I think Sark, in terms of why he doesn't have much pressure, he hasn't had that to deal with in his backyard. He's dominated the recruiting battle. He's kind of dominated the head-to-head matchup. Like, if they were going to the national championship game and going to the playoff but losing to Oklahoma every year, I think it would be different for Sark.
But his backyard is A&M, though.
Well, A&M wasn't in their conference.
Yeah.
So they weren't even playing them. And then they played them this year, and A&M couldn't score a touchdown. So he really has no competition.
Yeah.
Also, I think the timing of that rivalry, too, right? Because you play that, Red River, you play that earlier in the season. There's time to recover if he were to lose. Whereas opposed to Michigan, Ohio State, which is just at the end, it's the last thing you see generally.
But he's competing really with A&M and Alabama for players.
And that's what I was going to say, too.
Yeah.
The other thing is
Alabama
and Georgia also look like they're kind of on the downside.
Yeah, no, it's more parity for sure.
Yeah, so that helps them.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. We're talking about Texas. I think they are far and away under the most pressure of anyone in college football. Reportedly $40 million to spend on the team. Haven't been able to finally break through and win. And, Arch Manning now under center as the starter at quarterback. So let us know what you think. Coming up, Perloff has a what if for us. He is excited to pose this question.
Get your math hats on, nerds.
Oh,
time to go.
We just lost half the audience. I was hoping you were going to keep math out of the T's. We'll do it next. MMP.
You're in a 5-minute break. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. So Twitter was dominated by one story this year, X, this week. Could one gorilla beat up 100 men?
Yeah.
Yes. And I think a lot of people were trying to feed off that energy and come up with an even more meaningless question to distract America. And
not meaningless to this show. You put real thought into that gorilla thing.
Oh, my God. That's kind of all I thought about. Then it's had a lot of different sort of tentacles. Could a human beat up a hippopotamus? Like there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, fair question.
But then something came up on Twitter yesterday. Sorry, should I call it X or Twitter?
Who cares?
I'll give you guys a choice. It's going to take a little bit of math.
Ugh.
You can get a penny that doubles every day for 25 days.
Okay.
Or $1 million.
All right. Well, the way you pose the question kind of makes me think it's got to be the penny, right? Because the obvious answer would be $1 million, right? And I'm
the obvious,
horrible
yes, exactly. Why would you ask the question?
Wait, 25 days? I'm getting the penny.
But actually, I'll give you. Let's do it a month. I'll give you 30 days.
I don't.
I think it's 20, even if it was 20 days.
The penny doubles, so you go from 1 cent to 2 cents to 4 cents to 8 cents.
Yeah.
You are. How old is your son?
5.5.
You're about 5.5 years away from your days being overrun by these riddles. This is all my son does.
Oh,
just
really?
These
yes.
silly
Not for
hypotheticals.
school, just for fun.
I don't know where they
errors at second base.
I don't know where they come from, but there's always. Would you want this or this? What's bigger, this or this? And this is one. I've heard this one before.
And what's the answer? What's the correct answer?
So you know
the answer is the penny. You want the doubling penny.
Yeah, the penny is. I see $5.8 million over 30 days.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Me neither.
It's so two to
because all of a sudden it goes very slow, and then all of a sudden the doubling explodes what you have.
Inflation, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Maggie was right.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Maggie's instinct was right. When you hear that question, like, why would they be asking me if it's not the penny?
Yeah, so Bogusch, if you're getting me prepped for this is going to be my life very soon, or when my kid goes to elementary school, should I always just take the weird answer? Like always take the weird choice?
I haven't noticed that pattern yet, but I would say in this scenario, you want like the compounding interest, so to speak, over the lump sum.
Yeah, right. Who was the player who did Nassib? Carl Nassib? Was he the one who he went viral on Hard Knocks describing compound interest to a bunch of very dumbfounded looking jocks?
Penn State guy.
Yeah, smart dude.
My daughter gives me about 10 puzzles a week, and I never get any of them right because your brain is just not working like that anymore.
Yeah, but there's also
like
then the would
puzzles?
you rathers. That's not like the puzzles, like the brain teasers. Then you have the would the rather. Would you rather be slightly magnetic or emit a smell?
Yes.
Or stuff like that.
Or the black person version of this question is: would you want $500,000 on dinner with Jay-Z?
I want dinner with Jay-Z every time.
And it's always the stupid answer. Like I don't like. We trying to get it through people's heads. And you take the $500,000. Jay-Z said you take the $500,000.
Someone actually took that to Jay-Z?
Yeah.
But the reason why you do it is
That's
you pitch something to Jay-Z that he then says, that's the most brilliant idea I've ever heard. And here's, $10 million. Or you rap for Jay-Z and you're the next big thing.
No, it's just cool to have dinner with Jay-Z, right?
No, Maggie's right. The idea is that when you have dinner with
going
Jay-Z,
on Shark Tank.
It's like a business
got it.
dinner. So then you pitch him an idea or you say, hey, I'm working on this business. How can you help me? And Jay-Z is this Machiavellian guy who can make you forget the $500,000. He can make you $20 million. That's the deal.
Can I say one thing? I've done a lot of hypotheticals about what's your favorite superpower? Would you want to be invisible or fly or whatever? And never in my life have I ever heard, would you rather be slightly magnetic or have a weird odor? I think we moved past that.
It was emit a smell. No one said it was a good or bad.
I've never heard that one. I didn't know that was a thing. That is the weirdest question I've ever heard. I love it. So what's your answer? But I would want to be slightly magnetic.
Only
That'd be
slightly
awesome.
magnetic. I don't
but
want
slightly magnetic, like in
Can you
a
fly?
burdensome way, like you're walking by a metal gate and you get stuck. Or does it mean like you don't have to reach into your pocket? You can just open it up and all the pennies come up. Like, what are we talking about?
Artist choice, Pearl.
I mean, because obviously I don't want to emit a weird smell, and I think I do want to be slightly magnetic.
It was like there was a couple others. Would you rather have like Velcro for hands? Just silly stuff like that.
I've never heard these. I got to get down this thread with you after the show. Also, you've done that. Which superpower would you want?
Right.
We've all had that debate.
That seems like kind of elementary.
This is also not that far from 100 humans or one gorilla.
No, this
is all the same family.
I think that the country was ready for more social media questions like that.
This is how you get to the bottom of it. I see another one here. Like, would you rather be able to see 10 minutes into the future or 150 years into the future?
Yeah, that's a good one.
What am I going to do with 150 years?
Well, that's why you would pick 10 minutes. What are you going to do with 10 minutes?
But then how much time do you have? No, you got to go way in the future. Then you go to the newspapers or the internet, and then you build a sports betting empire, Back to the Future 2 style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that doesn't sound very legal.
We just did a whole movie bracket on sequels.
Yeah.
Here's a one. Would you rather find true love today or win the lottery next year?
Win the lottery, bro.
Which then gets you the lady.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Bill Belichick, man.
You're the only single one here. You did pick true love?
Yeah, bro. Give me the money. I don't want to.
Rich man, he's gonna get.
Rich man, he's gonna walk around with Jordan Hudson under her.
And I'm sure she'll love you right back.
I'm sure because I got
to,
money.
Imagine we could deal with Jordan Hudson to get to Manny. Like imagine us
emailing her.
Yeah, I'm like, hey man, I need some cuts, and she's like, first of all, you're gonna have respect when you text Manny. Okay,
that'd be great. She's
get on Mike
sitting behind him while he produced this show.
We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Not playing that rejoin.
So, Manny, how'd you meet Jordan Hudson? All of a sudden, you just get yanked off stage like vaudeville style?
We don't do the NASCAR reads anymore, but thank you very much.
Would you rather be in jail for 5 years or be in a coma for a decade?
Oh, definitely the coma.
Same.
Yeah, I'd rather.
I'm not doing 5 minutes in jail.
Wait, do the Knicks win the title?
In fact, I might want to
Manny,
be.
it's
So
the Knicks.
serious, bro.
It said 10 years, not 30.
So cool to come out of a coma and find out what happened. Like I like waking up in the
That'd be
morning.
cool.
If there's like a Western Conference game that ends up late, I look forward to waking up in the morning and see what happened. That'd be the ultimate. Hey, who won the last 9 Super Bowls?
Imagine you're like, who's president? Like Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah,
Like, no kidding.
Wait, we ever see those fake tweets where people were like, hey, my cousin just woke up out of a coma. I just told him, yep, LeBron's still doing it. Love those tweets.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I'd wake up from 10 years in a coma and like in the hospital, just out the window, just like flares, like going by, like the zombie apocalypse is just on.
LeBron will be the first person to play with his own grandkid.
Oh my gosh.
There's another, by the way,
Ronnie the third.
another animal one got out there.
What was that?
For $100 million, which animal would you survive against for 20 minutes? A gorilla.
$100 million?
Yeah, a gorilla, a tiger, a grizzly bear, or a hippopotamus.
Oof. Oh, no, definitely not the hippo.
The hippo is winning because people think they can get away from it.
Oh, dude. Crocodiles are afraid of hippos. If crocodiles are afraid of hippos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are hippos fast?
Yeah, I actually looked it up yesterday, last night, when I should have been preparing for the show.
Quick.
35 miles
like a
an
white
hour.
quarterback?
35 miles an hour.
Whoa.
That's
sneaky
moving.
quick, I'm telling
It's
you.
like Daniel Jones.
They're one of
There's the comp.
they're the
Fake
biggest
news.
killer of humans in, I think, of any animal almost. They kill humans left and right. In fact, you're lucky. Yeah. You
Left
go down the
and
street,
right.
you'd be lucky to avoid a hippo attack.
I love your exaggerations.
You don't know
Left
that.
and right.
Watch
It's
out.
not
Don't go to the
exaggeration.
Central Park Zoo, y'all.
I learned to know
Hippos
wild
kill
cats.
more people than lions, elephants, leopards, buffaloes, rhinos combined.
That's why you don't take the hippo, man.
But that's still not left and right.
Okay, so
But also, what's the most deadly animal? Is it like a snake or something that you would get
A
bitten
mosquito.
mosquito.
by? Oh, for malaria?
Yeah.
This feels like a trick question.
I think,
hilarious.
maybe snakes, right? But they're close to the most deadly.
I mean, according to Discover Wildlife,
Oh, of course.
the 10 examples of animals that are deadly to humans. Number 1 is hippopotamuses.
Yeah, no, I had to make that up. I've heard the hippos are the most dangerous animals.
No.
You guys have never heard that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
When you say left and right, it's like we're lucky to be here.
No, I mean,
that was sidestepping
look out.
hippos daily.
I'm telling you, if you get too close to the East River, watch out for the hippo attack.
Yeah, they probably mutated at that point because of all the garbage in the East River.
You guys all laughed at me just now when I said hippos are deadly. You're like, what?
I laughed at left and right.
Yeah, I left it left and right.
No, you laughed before. Play the tape back. You didn't know hippos
I did
were
not
deadly.
know. I did not know. I knew they were deadly. I didn't know they were the most deadly.
I'm on Perloff's side.
500 deaths per year.
Yeah.
500?
Some of them are from that Jumanji movie. That's where I learned.
Well,
They're
Jumanji,
nasty.
Actually, crocodiles killed a lot more, too. I would think alligators and crocodiles.
Yeah. We found out at the alligator farm that it is crocodiles that are the vicious ones.
Hippos are very territorial. Now, I don't think we're ever going to be in their territory, per se. But if you walk in the wrong part of the river, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, well, they say if you're, they charge at boats, and that's where a lot of deaths come in.
Oh my
they
God.
charge at boats and capsize them.
But like, where in America are there hippos? I have no idea.
Oh, they're everywhere.
Bronx Zoo, Central Park Zoo,
Left and right.
San Diego Zoo.
Oh, they're everywhere.
Folks, this is obviously Africa we're talking about.
So I'm safe.
You just said, where in New York are there hippos?
You were the guy that said they're killing people left and right.
Bogusch is happening in Toronto, buddy. Just don't go.
Central Park.
Maybe.
Central Park.
Do you see things happen in Florida? They got iguanas falling out of trees.
Well, they have crocodiles over there that are taking up all the killings. That
They've
the
got
hippos would do.
snakes and stuff.
Maggie and I held an alligator this year.
Mm-hmm. That still feels.
Did Maggie do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, that's right.
She was very happy to do so.
Yeah, technically, I held it.
Yeah, how many seconds did you get to? I can't remember.
How long did it take you to take the photo? 5? Then I ran out of there.
No.
How about would you rather swim in a pool full of Nutella or a pool full of maple syrup?
Nutella. I don't even like Nutella like that, but maple syrup, that's too much sugar.
You can't swim in Nutella.
Yeah, would you suffocate?
Sounds like a good time.
I think you'd be safe.
By Nutella?
You couldn't get into the Nutella to drown.
I don't think you would sink.
Yeah.
Like
I think you
could
would.
sink in.
What do you mean? Why would you sink? You think that Nutella could hold up the human body?
Maybe
I think it's too
Nutella
thick.
works as quicksand.
It's kind of viscous. Is it
You
not?
think you jump into a pool of Nutella or maple syrup, you're not going to just start fall straight down?
Not completely submerged.
Oh, okay. I see what you're. Yeah.
You got to tread water, or in this case, hazelnuts.
Hazelnut spread.
All right, let's get to some headlines.
Sure. It might not be the best strategy, but James Harden put himself back into Game 7 last night.
To Harden. And the olive green Harden volume 9s. He gets around a Batum screen to the right wing. Harden's got space. Rises for 3. Rips the cords. Clippers up. 102-88. 4 minutes gone in the fourth. Adelman in Denver will use their second to last timeout.
A fit check and a 3 from Carlo Jimenez on Clippers Radio. Harden with 28. 27 from Kawhi in a series extending 111-105 home win over the Nuggets, setting up one more final game in Denver tomorrow night. The last time we saw Harden in a Game 7, he was a Sixer facing the Celtics 2 years ago, and he scored 9 points. Philly was minus 30 with him on the floor.
Is that bad?
It is.
He's your problem now, LA.
The Knicks flirted with a Game 7, letting a 12-point fourth quarter lead become a 7-point hole with 2.5 minutes left in Detroit last night. But then Jalen Brunson hit that tie-breaking 3 with 4 seconds left to cap off a 40-point effort and a 116-113 clincher.
Get the out of here, Detroit!
Tom Thibodeau on the NBA's Mr. Clutch.
Jalen shot, what can you say? You know, timely, he's at his best when his best is needed. He's done it all year. That's what makes him special.
Is he communicating through the Burger King drive-thru? Why does it sound like that?
Well, it's a microphone back in Manhattan. Like, what
was he on a
would you
Zoom?
like fries with that?
Was that an in-person press conference?
Someone's recording it off TV.
Yeah, every time that we have, I don't know where that came from, but every time that we have newsroom issues here, it is at least somewhat a relief to me to hear and see other people doing the same job, not as well as being done here. So it's not just our problem. Like somebody thought that sounded good enough to put in a service that we get audio from.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's a roundabout way of saying not your fault.
Well, I wonder if the whole press conference was tinny.
Or like the other day, there was a game where like something crazy happened in the game and they loaded a cut from the guy involved, but not about about Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, Giannis.
Oh, yes.
And like this service had a Tyrese Halliburton cut about the game, like not his dad accosting Giannis. So like, okay, that guy could work for us. Same. Call him up.
Man.
What?
I'm staying away from that.
Bogusch.
How about this?
No.
Would you rather be royalty
Bogusch.
1,000 years ago or an average person today?
I've been here since day one. I must say whatever I want about this newsroom. Okay? It has broken me multiple times.
Yeah.
You've got skins on the
You don't
wall.
really hold it back anymore. You're like, nah.
I mean, and it doesn't matter because it's going to happen again next week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the chairs have been moving around, right?
Yeah.
We felt like they got that worked out.
We have. Coaches try to work through the media, right? You put things in the media so you hope your players hear them and adjust. I've tried and failed for a dozen years.
Fail with Jake, fail with the board ops out there.
At least Jake's 11. I still got time, I think.
That's true.
Nico, I can't help. Everyone else knows. He's sitting out there.
You
listening
love
to
Nico.
This. I do. That's why I just said that.
Yeah, you say Nico because he's one of the best.
Yes.
Right. And he's sitting out there right
the
now
guy is
listening.
super busy. He's trying to run a Jaguars draft room and be work here.
I know. It's weird how he's calling himself James Gladstone when he's in Jacksonville, but we all know it's Nico.
They look exactly the same.
Perloff already knows this because he was watching. For the rest of us, the Battle of Ontario is over.
Domi Sanders in front with a shot. They score! They score! The Leafs third line! Max Pacioretty in the slot! The Leafs take the lead! 5:39 to go!
That's Joe Bowen on Leafs Radio. Toronto a 4-2 win in Ottawa to close out the Sens on their third try. Vegas sent Minnesota home 3-2, and the Oilers knocked out the Kings 6-4. Both of those series done in 6. But the Avalanche did stay alive, a 7-4 home win over the Stars, so a Game 7 coming for them. And here we go again, just days after his divorce with the Penguins, Mike Sullivan is now the head coach of the New York Rangers. Guess who has the best record in the AL this morning?
2-2 pitch. Fly ball left field. Way back in left. Ward looking up, and it's gone, a home run. Dylan Dingler with number 4. 3-run shot here in the 8th. Tigers take a 7-4 lead.
Dan Dickerson on Tigers Radio. If baseball doesn't work out for Dylan Dingler, I've got some movies he could star in.
A sequel, perhaps, that we could.
That's a tie-breaking 3-run homer, top 8 in Anaheim. Detroit running away for a 10-4 win, improving to 20-12. And yes,
the Tigers got
it was after this game that the Angels, who have lost 6 in a row, put Mike Trout back on the IL with that bone bruise in his left knee.
Well, that's not great for me.
I've got a movie-themed would you rather question. Would you rather be an extra in an Oscar-winning movie or the lead in a box office bomb?
Box office bomb.
Lead in the box office bomb.
Wait, sorry. Say, okay, lead.
Yeah. Extra in an Oscar-winning movie or lead in a box office bomb?
Definitely a lead.
Right. No, you make money, but...
And people
Also,
know who you are.
You're already probably pretty famous if you got the lead.
You also might be like infamous where people like kind of hate like your movie.
Cold Hero or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, Jim Carrey was in Cable Guy, was a famous bust.
Yeah, but he had how many...
Right, but that to get to the lead of a bad movie, you have to be a big shot already.
Would you rather always have BO and not know it or always smell BO on everyone else?
I smell it.
I think I would rather
smell it.
I think I'd pass on all of this.
No, but if you can smell it, that's kind of your secret, right? But if you've got BO,
And
everyone else...
And you don't know it, that's rough.
Yeah, you got to take the smelling part of it.
You would never find a partner if you have BO that everyone smells all the time.
I know, but what kind of quality of life do you have if you're always smelling BO on everybody?
Again, this is why I would pass.
Well, you can't pass, Manny. This is your life on the line.
Listen, you play enough sports, you in a men's locker room, like
right.
I think I could live with that. As bad as it is, I think I could live with that.
Yeah, I think maybe men have a higher threshold for smells, just because of how you grew up and live.
High school
what
boys.
you trying to say, Max?
I'm just saying women have a little more decency and shame.
Wow.
A high school boys locker room smells crazy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how I did that. Like it's.
Why don't you guys? Because kids aren't wearing deodorant young enough.
Yeah, they don't wear deodorant. They don't. A lot of places they don't like shower. They aren't shower. There aren't showers in the locker rooms.
They don't know how to shower. People
Don't you guys
know
have
how to
fond
do it.
memories of the locker room back in the day? And those smelled terrible. But it was still like your favorite place ever. No?
I can't remember I can't remember the group chat saying, "Hey boys, let's go meet up in the locker room."
Let's just stay here for a while.
Yeah.
Well, do you mean the locker room like how NFL players will stay when they retire?
Oh
they
my
miss
God.
like the chatting and the camaraderie.
Yeah. Like the hardest I've ever laughed is in a locker room.
In a tennis locker room with Murray.
After Murray Goldstein got pelted in the back of the head on purpose.
Not yet. CTE.
You cannot be serious.
Murray never recovered. Murray's been in therapy ever since.
We would all
But glad you guys got a good laugh.
after practice. We would all like sing. We would sing songs together. Like we would do like
what, Sweet Caroline or something?
Team's getting
no,
cooler
like
by the
you know,
second.
it was like the
Sing
show White
songs.
Shadow. Actually, no, that was White Shadow.
How many girls were there?
That wasn't us. I forgot. We would do a dance number. Sorry, that was TV. That was not my. I can't believe you guys actually thought I sang something. But in a lot of TV shows, I think High School Musical, I think Zac Efron would belt out a number after practice in the locker room. That'd be cool.
Bet on it, bet on it.
It's a miracle any of you guys even got here. I'm going to be honest.
I don't know how I've made
What
it
do you
27
mean?
years.
710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Okay, coming up next. Oh, we have to ask this question to you before the week is done, and we will do it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome to the Maggie and Perloff Show. Okay, question that we've been flirting with all week, Pearl, but we've never gotten a chance to get to it, which is something you wanted to talk about. JJ McCarthy. We finally got to hear from the Minnesota Vikings quarterback. And listen, they chose him, right? Aaron Rodgers. Good conversations, Aaron said, but ultimately, no thank you. Kirk Cousins is not on this roster again yet. The draft came and went. They didn't do anything as far as quarterback. I think I got to believe them now that they really are, stepping into the JJ McCarthy era. So here is McCarthy sounding very, very confident as he's going to take over as the starter.
I know I'm ready to start. I appreciate that question, Kevin, because all the work I put in and just the confidence in my skills and abilities and just being able to do my job and simplify things to, the best of my ability every single day. And, just take it one day at a time, one play at a time. And, I have a tremendous coaching staff, a tremendous group of guys around me that I can lean on, and they can lean on me.
Pearl, where's your confidence level that JJ McCarthy is actually going to be able to make good on this?
Really good, because everything around him is so good. I actually like Sam Darnold a little more than you, but the magic that they had around Sam Darnold, they even improved the team around the quarterback significantly. They brought in a lot of offensive line help, which was their major Achilles heel towards the end of last year. And let's face it, Jordan Addison's going to be a year older. Justin Jefferson's still Justin Jefferson. I feel like they are loaded for bear at every position except quarterback, and that's why I think quarterback will be pretty good.
As far as the odds are concerned, the Vikings are the team in the NFC North that is projected to take a step backwards this year. So obviously they were really good last year, but you still have the Lions to deal with, who are coming off an embarrassing first round for them, divisional round exit in the playoffs. The Packers made a lot of, people love their draft. Jordan Love, if he's healthy, could take a big step forward. We know their defense is full of first-round picks. And then obviously the Bears with Ben Johnson now is like the must-watch team in Caleb Williams' second year.
Absolutely. But I think I've got a new draft philosophy.
What do you got?
Whoever picked the offensive lineman won the draft. Whoever picked the skill position players lost the draft. Because all the analysts were like, well, I watched Matthew Golden at Texas. He was awesome. We didn't watch the Vikings pick Donovan Jackson. You might have watched him, actually. He was at Ohio State. But it just seems like the elite teams are drafting from the trenches, and I feel like that's been Minnesota's approach. So I think people are underestimating them, just like they did. That was the one team we most underestimated last year, right?
Yeah, I
they
thought
they won 14 games. I don't think anyone even had them in the playoffs.
Well, I'm not a big Sam Darnold guy, but here's the thing. Yeah. I thought that JJ McCarthy seemed a little nervous there.
Oh, really?
He was saying confident things, but maybe in a way that was like, I'm ready to start. Like, it was the delivery, but maybe I'm just reading into it a little too
much. I mean, press conferences are totally irrelevant. He looked good in preseason. I mean, he can run a little bit. The question for me is, he's coming off an injury, right? Do you want to have, I don't know, Sam Howell is the first string backup, right? I'd still consider Cousins.
It doesn't look like Atlanta's doing that right now.
I want a high-end backup there because he's only 22 and he's coming off an injury. Like, I just think that's a little dicey.
Can I ask you another question? And Manny, quickly, can you play me cut 14? This is Charles Barkley talking on the Dan Patrick Show yesterday about how he is actually concerned about Bill Belichick and his girlfriend Jordan Hudson's influence now, or perceived influence on Belichick's life. Here's Barkley.
I'm not sure what's going on. He's been a great friend for me for a long time. We've been friends since he coached for the Browns. I think he got to be very careful right now. This is starting to be on a very slippery slope.
Barkley also saying that he was going to reach out to Belichick, Pearl. Let's hear that. Cut 15, please.
From what I'm hearing, it's starting to be a very slippery slope. And I never talk about people's personal relationship. That's another rule I got. But I will admit I'm a little concerned with some of the stuff that's going on. And I might actually reach out to him and make sure everything's good. But I am concerned from what I'm hearing because, it's not a good look right now. I'll admit that.
Do you think Barkley will reach out this weekend or very soon to Belichick and say, listen, it looks on the outside like this woman has got a lot of influence over you, and I don't know if it's a good thing?
I think absolutely not. Because Charles Barkley says a million things, and it's just Charles, whatever passes through his mind comes out his lips. No way is he calling Bill Belichick. He's in the middle of the NBA playoffs. Just think about that.
Oh, come on. He's locked in right now. That's why I think he will call Belichick. Thank you, EJ Stewart, and thank you to Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Weedo's Coffee Drinkers. You guys were dynamite this week. We will see you Monday.
Get the out of here, Detroit.